I hope everyone is able to listen to me, and let's check how many are connected. So we would really like to, um, you know, have you. I would request that please mute your mic, and thank you very much for that. Just if you could. Oh, okay. So kindly just mute your mic, guys. Thank you. And if everyone is able to hear my, see my screen and hear my voice here, so that is great. I'm just gonna put that chat up there, and okay. So my eyes are on the chat all the time. Mariam is saying she cannot hear anything. Mahmood, thank you very much for sharing that. Humber.webex.com. I wish. Okay, so I wish I had started that earlier. But next class, I'm gonna go for that. Thank you. All good working. So, guys, let me just go with the background what we were doing. Although we have that background and understanding as well. So, okay, I think I have to close. Mute everyone's mic, and you can just ask questions in the chat, guys, right? And that is participants. If I go to participants, I'll just mute the mic for everyone. Mute all. So I've been teaching Office 365 courses.
It's been working.
Mute all. Okay. Hey guys, so I'm just gonna ask again in the chat, are you all able to hear me? And this is for those who are not able to. Oh, can you hear me? So just say yes for those who are unable to, so they could try to troubleshoot on their side, unmute something on their side, right? So guys, you can see my screen on vCenter on server 2 here. So server 1, and then server 2, and then Esxi1 and Esxi2. So this is where we were in our... Oh, so Mariam cannot hear my sound. Excuse me. So, well, how to troubleshoot Mariam's desktop or PC. Although she's a very technical lady. Hopefully she figures that out. Okay guys, so what we were, I'm going to quickly draw this diagram here, and I'm recording that as well, yeah. And so we have 4 machines here, and we need to move ahead with some advanced features here. So what we did was already that we have here server 01 with AD, DNS, DHCP, and also SAN. And then we have here server 02, which is now having vCenter. Now I have to salute you guys. You guys are amazing. You have done some very splendid job of getting up and running this environment in your machines. I have protested about the vCloud unpredictability there with the management. I hope they listen, but as I have some 4 or 5 years of experience, okay, I can't say anything else. So Esxi, this is a hypervisor here, and then Esxi2, that's a hypervisor. And we have here SAN with the 3 disks here, right? And those 3 disks are, LANs, or the totally shared disks over the network. And those 3 disks are shared with these guys here that are the hypervisors. So these same disks are shared with the first hypervisor. These same disks are shared with the second hypervisor. So this needs to be very clear what how the connections are going. The same disk is connected to both hypervisors. So I'm going to create those LANs here. And last time also we talked about those LANs. I'm going to create LANs here, right? And or the totally shared disks. That's what we did. And okay, I want to see the chat. What happened to the chat? You're now the presenter. Oh, did I just press enter to somebody else? Yeah.
We lost your screen.
No, somebody asked to be a presenter while I was typing here, and it got pressed enter. So I'm the presenter again. I'll just share my screen again. So somebody pressed the wrong button that asked the privilege of being a presenter. Okay, can you see my screen now, guys?
Yes, we can. Sorry, I hope it's not me.
No, everyone was. But thank you. Your very clear communication is really helping me. So,
You are welcome.
Alright guys, here not only that we created SAN and shared it with the help of vCenter here, but then we created, so these are obviously LAN 01, we went as far as this one, LAN 02 and LAN 03, right? And we then went for for data stores here, right? And that was data store 1 on LAN 01, actually LAN 0. My numbering is wrong here because it was LAN 0 and then 1 and then 2. That's how it was, right? So it was all this. Now I'm just going to add quickly. This is LAN 0, this is LAN 1, and this is LAN 2. So now my eyes are on the chat as well, so any question you want to ask, you can ask there in the chat. It is being recorded as well, so you don't miss anything anytime. So we named them SRV1 and then SRV1 DS0 and DS0 LAN 0, right? So and then we went for SRV1 DS1, so that was DS1 and LAN 1, and respectively DS2 and LAN 2, right? So now that was what we needed to know, and then through vCenter we tried to create a VM. Now last time, well, in the class at least we created a VM there, but some of you may not have that VM, which is okay. But when we create a VM in a hypervisor with the help of vCenter, so that VM is created on top of data store that is living on top of this LAN 0, LAN 0, LAN 1 or LAN 2, right? So this the data stores, and this is the vdisk, v.disk. So and this is the VM, obviously virtual machine, right? So the virtual disk lives inside this. So virtual machine. Oh, okay, good, Asano. So very good, very good. Okay, so can anyone tell me in the chat by answering that quickly? That virtual machine is started on what? Is it started on the local disk? If this is the connection, is it started on the LAN or is it started on RAM? So its virtual disk is on the data store that is on LAN, but the virtual machine itself, when you power on, where does it get loaded? Anyone can tell me in the chat, where does the virtual machine?
In the RAM.
Oh, okay, that was fast. Okay, so yeah, in the RAM, exactly. So this is how it is going on right now. It's loaded on the RAM. So the more RAM, the machine would be better working. Otherwise, it won't be working. So this is what we have done. Also, we have gone through this vCenter. We installed that. We have now two data centers there, Tor DC and NYDC, right? And one has E6I01 is Tor DC, and NYDC is E6I02. So when we come to the vCenter itself, actually NYDC is up. So let's go further. Then we also talked about actually the standard switch a bit, but we need to explore some more, and then we're going to go for vMotion. So NYDC here, has ESXi02, and TorDC has ESXi01, and then that's how we attach the LUNs together. And you had to create that again, which is actually a good experience, and some of us had to create multiple times, which is also better experience. So the confidence is more. Now we have reached till now here. If we talk about the hypervisor itself, it has a standard virtual switch as well. So as far as the storage is concerned, the SAN storage, our software SAN storage has been connected to both hypervisors. If you had 200 hypervisors, if you were a you were a senior administrator there in a large company, and they had 200 hypervisors or 1,000 hypervisors, you would be connecting lots to every hypervisor. Okay. Okay, guys, please mute your mics and. Okay, that was the loudest loud sound. So I'll try to. Oh, it's there. So I'll try to get the sound mute all, but yeah, in WebEx that's a bug that anyone can still open the mic or accidentally it opens. Alright, guys. So we were talking about this. So there are those virtual switches as well, standard switches actually. So the virtual standard switch is created on both here. So this would be obviously our V switch 0. So always when you create a first switch, it is V switch 0, and that V switch 0 would have two components, which I asked maybe several times now. Can anyone just name them quickly? What are the two major components that we talk about within a virtual switch? First is, okay, Shalendra is saying
port group and VM kernel.
Very good. Port group and VM general or VM kernel? Oh, okay. VM kernel, exactly. So VM kernel port, right? So port group connects virtual machines. VM kernel port connects, or it introduces advanced features, right? So we were talking about all that. So we understand that virtual machines, port group, VM kernel, oh, seriously, it's not kernel, it's kernel. So, okay, so let's go visit our vCenter. If you got the whole background good, if there are any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we discussed that in the class as well. So now what we need to do is we need to just explore some of the features of virtual switch. Then we need to talk about how to configure vMotion, which is how a virtual machine migrates from one hypervisor to another hypervisor. And then we need to go for creating some advanced features as well. So let's go for virtual switch 0. That's where we were. If there are any questions before that, let me know. Otherwise, let's go ahead and try to explore some more of the switch 0 options here. So in order to do that, I'm just going to go inside the vCenter, and inside the vCenter, maybe you've seen this message, or if you did not see that message, I kept it on this message. If it comes, yeah, obviously it's just saying allow server 2 to store information on your computer. Obviously, yes, allow. I'm just gonna, if you ever see that message. Second thing is, if you have suspended the machines, just like I suspended, so the main benefit of suspending is that it loads all the services of it doesn't have to load the services. Even services are not down when you suspend the machine, they're just frozen. But when you come back from suspension, you have to log out once and log in again from the vCenter. So I'm gonna press OK. It's gonna kick me out from here. If it doesn't, then I'm just going to refresh this browser, because once you come back from suspension, you have to go inside the browser here. Now, guys, my request is that if we can keep the class going and you try to understand, those who are really following, actually pretty much everyone is following, but if we stop for any troubleshooting, we won't be able to cover all the topics. The video is there, you can complete it throughout the week as well, but if you didn't understand, and if we didn't go ahead, we won't be able to cover all the advanced topics. And I want to cover all the advanced features, which are very exciting, and that would have better job prospects for you as well. So if you're stuck with some long problem, sit back, enjoy the show, try to understand everything, and even you can have TeamViewer, and any other time I can just remotely connect and solve that issue with you, right? With your machine, actually. Just kidding. So okay, so your connection is not private. We understand that, and click Advanced here, and we go down to Proceed to Server 2 here, which is unsafe, and I'm just taking a big risk now. Just kidding. Okay, and then we know the username password here, administrator at vsphere.local, and then we're going for small abc, capital ABC, shift 123 without shift 123, the long password.
Please set the spelling of sphere.
V administrator. Oh, thank you, sir. VSPHER. Thank you. And log in. Okay, so now vSphere is a beast, and I have 32 GB RAM, but I have put my machines on 16 GB RAM level, so my machine will act as same as your machine. So first of all, I don't need the left side machine view, so I'm just gonna click this close here, the cross here, just to have bigger screen. And if I need it, then I would go for this full screen, right? So in fact, why not? So I'm just gonna go full screen now, so I can have all the windows. So guys, this is how it's looking like, the way we wanted it to look. So you have Esxi01 here. Let's click the Esxi01 here, and so it is just loading on the right side, all the configurations there. Already the shared storage or the LANs are connected there, but we need to talk about the switch, the standard switch. So if you have selected Esxi01 here like this, and then you may be on configure already, or just click configure here, and once you click configure, then you go down to networking, which is under the storage, and then virtual switches. So I hope it's Esxi01 configure and then virtual switches under the networking, right? Once you go ahead and click the virtual switches here, so there's that vSwitch 0, and if I click vSwitch 0 here, so there was that, I'm just gonna drag this recent task a little lower so I could really show the whole thing. And last time we actually created an extra port group as well. Until that we went, but so right now what vSwitch 0 is showing here in the diagram, this is the physical side, and this is the switch, and this is the software side or logical side of the switch. So this is a physical network card that we have attached here, and then there's a switch here, and then there's a management network, which is a VM kernel port, and a VM network, which is a port group. So the virtual machine is connected to a port group called, by default, the first port group name always is VM network. And remember one thing, VM kernel port introduces advanced features, and management network is one of those advanced features. Anyone knows what is the purpose of management network VM kernel port, which is an advanced feature? Quickly. What is the purpose of VM kernel port called management network? Anyone? So in the chat, Imane says connect to vCenter, and Babatunde says vMotion. So it's not vMotion. vMotion is a separate advanced feature, but management network is a name of an advanced feature already. And yes, as Imane, you said, manage the host. Mariam also said manage the host, and also that okay, monitor we can say, but connect, manage, and monitor. So vCenter, this whole thing is vCenter, and that is connecting to Esxi 1 because of management network VM kernel port. If you stop this port, if you go to the VM hypervisor directly and stop this service, so this whole vCenter will not be able to connect to E601 remotely because this management network is not there. So remotely it just we can connect and manage and monitor the host thanks to management network VM kernel port, which is an advanced feature, right? So that's one thing. Now we needed to go ahead and try to explore some of the options there with vSwitch 0, and then my next question is this, okay, or this, or this. So okay. Oh wow, there were samosas. Okay. So yeah, next question is quickly this, and you can answer quickly as well. So VM sees slash connects directly to the vSwitch. Is it yes? Is it no? Quickly. VM sees or connects directly to a virtual switch. Oh wow, there are too many no's here. Oh, there's a yes, and so Gabriel, Tosin, Shiva, Mariam, Tajinder, Mahyar, Babatunde. So there are 3 yeses and 4 no's here, right? So, well, obviously it's well, it's no, because VM sees connects to port groups. So it only sees a port group, and port group connects to vSwitch, right? So port group connects to vSwitch, exactly, Tosin. So VMCs connects to port groups, and port groups in turn connects to vSwitch. So this is the same as VM, sees a data store, and data store sees a physical disk, right? So always remember that VM does not do directly with hardware of any type. So VM does not see the physical network card or the virtual switch. It just sees the port group. That's it, right? So last time we created the port groups as well, but this is a rule of thumb that you need to memorize, that VM only sees port group when it comes to networking. VM only sees data store when it comes to storage. Data store. Okay, so if you understand that, let's go ahead now. Inside this, we needed to go for the port group. So let's quickly create now. How many does not have a virtual machine here? How many does not have any virtual machine created? So if you did not answer, this means you have a virtual machine. So Kushal does not have a virtual machine here, right? And anyone else does not have a virtual machine? Oh, you have 2. Okay. So if you have 2 virtual machines, then that's wrong. I mean, we should have just 1 virtual machine. I'm just kidding. Okay. So guys, let's quickly create a virtual machine number 2 as well, because later we're going to be creating actually 4 virtual machines. 1 with Windows 10. Wow, Japinder, you rule, man. I have 1 but no OS, which is okay. Right now, OS is not the concern. So right click here, E601. Those who do not have a virtual machine, in fact, those who have a virtual machine, because ultimately we're gonna go later for 4 empty virtual machines as well. So those who have or not, just let's click that right click here and create 1 more virtual machine. Let's right click here and go for new virtual machine like this, and go for new virtual machine. So we know how to create that. Some of us can create with eyes closed, but don't try it. Okay, so new virtual machine here. I hope everyone's there. Go ahead, do that. Once you click the new virtual machine, this will also test our network, that its storage and networking are okay or not. So create a new virtual machine here and keep it selected like that, and click next. And then because my other virtual machine, because I have another one, so it's your first name VM01, so I'm just gonna go for your first name VM02. If this is the first one, go for 01. If it's second one, go for 2. If it's third or fourth one, go respectively. You guys are sharp, right? So think out of the box and try to figure out some of the things which are very clear. So your first name VM02 in my case, which would be 3 or 4 or 1 in your case. Okay, let's click next. It is already has selected the Tor DC. Next. If you have any question or concern, you can come on the mic, or you can just put in the chat. I'm looking at the chat continuously as well. So the green here, compatibility checks succeeded, is good news. Let's keep on going. It was saying compute resource. Compute means memory and CPU. Let's click next. And yeah, so we have our data stores here, DS0, DS1, DS2, right? So we can go for anyone. I'm just going for DS0 for no particular reason. You can choose 1, you can choose 2. It's up to you. But do not choose data store 1. Why should we not choose data store 1 quickly? Why not data store 1 quickly? Why not? Why not data store 1? So that's a question. Why not data store 1? That is on a local disk. Thank you, sir. OS resides here and it's a local disk. Exactly. So Kim is correct. And Gabriel, yeah, as well. So data store 1, it's on a local disk. This is on LUNs, right? So LUN 0, if you selected that, click next. And yeah, then it's okay, 6.5. We don't need a backward compatibility. We talked about that as well. So 6.5 and later is okay, and click next. Anything wrong with installing on DS1? No, Babatunde, it's okay. DS1, DS2, anyone you can choose, but not data store 1. Whichever data stores are created on top of a LUN are okay. Whichever are created on a local disk, not okay, right? Okay, so guys, it's on the guest OS family Windows and guest OS version 2008 R2, which is okay. So let's click next. And there is that virtual hardware, and we already know that since we have given all 4 GB RAM to our hypervisors, because this machine is getting created on top of a hypervisor 1 or 2, whichever. In my case 1. So I'm just gonna give it again 1024. Keep it to low RAM, and obviously I don't want it to be thick provision in terms of hard disk. So I'm gonna expand that. And well, why am I expanding that? Seriously. So yeah, when I expand that, so it's 40 GB. So I'm just gonna oh, sorry. Yeah, thick provision is there. So I'm gonna go down to thin provision. So whenever you're creating machines, make sure these 2 changes you always make. One is memory 1024. Second is hard disk, and that is thin provision. So the rest is okay. And if that's the case, let's click next. These 2 changes you must do, and then click next. Otherwise, it will fill up your disk fast if you go for thick provision or you forgot to change that. Suppose you have a machine with thick provision already created, and your disk space is not that much. Delete that machine and just create another one, right? So if it's an empty machine, so click. Let's click next if you have done these changes. And finito. Okay. So now that there's a virtual machine created here, well, actually it's creating, and our best friend recent task says it is created, right? Completed. So we're good. This also shows that the storage connected to the vCenter is okay, and the hypervisor and the networking connected to the hypervisor is okay. So what we can quickly do is first we can check and play with the port group here. So last class as well, we talked about port group, and we created a new port group, and then we changed the virtual machine from one port group to another port group, right? So that is one thing that we can quickly do. So you, in a virtual switch, you can have a port group connected for virtual machines, but suppose you have 10 virtual machines, right? So 5 virtual machines belong to sales department, 5 virtual machines belong to marketing department. And the boss says, hey, why don't you just connect sales department machine to a separate port group just for organization, and 5 other virtual machines which belong to marketing department, why don't you create a port group for marketing department and connect them there? So in that case, you would go for multiple port groups. Why? For now, just organization, right? Because this port group is connected to the same virtual switch, and the other port groups will be connected to the same virtual switch. And these all port groups with all virtual machines here are sending their traffic to this one poor guy here. This is the only physical network card here that is taking your traffic, sending and receiving. So in last class also, we added actually 8 more network cards. Oh, we did not add 8 network cards, right? So anyway, we'll do that. So right now this poor guy is having just one network card, this virtual switch 0. Now let's quickly do first one thing, and that is play with the port group, understand the inner working of a port group, and then we're gonna create multiple switches here and create port groups of their own. We're gonna try to explore all the features of port groups and in a virtual switch, whatever features are there, and virtual switch, multiple virtual switches as well. So we could understand, oh, okay, that's how we can play with the network. Okay, cool, that's good. So I'm just going to, if we go back to the diagram just to see our perspective here. So port group and vSwitch 0, that's what we are trying to explore. So let's go ahead and check it out. First of all, we're going to check. Okay, I'm just making it bigger again. Hope you're already seeing that, and good. So in that vSwitch 0, we need to create 2 more port groups, and always naming convention is one of the most important things that really saves a lot of your troubleshooting, and it also helps you detect what resource is connected where, right? So let's create 2 more port groups. One is sales port group, other is marketing port group. So let's go for this option here, and that is the globe with a plus sign, add host networking. Let's do it, guys. So add host networking. So if you all click that, this is obviously we're going to be coming back and forth here a lot for different things. So first of all, do you want to create a VM kernel adapter? Are you actually adding an advanced feature? Well, no, we're not adding an advanced feature yet, but we can if we want it, and we will later, but not now. So we go down to physical network adapter. Are you adding multiple physical network adapters? No, but we will be adding soon. But right now what we are interested in is we need to just create 2 more port groups. So let's go for the third option. A port group handles virtual machine traffic on standard switch. Okay, we know that. So let's click the third option and click next. Once we click next here, so we're going to stick to vSwitch 0 here, and we're creating 2 more port groups here. Again, remember that, okay, you can create 2, 3, 4, 10 port groups, but there is only one poor network card, physical network card that is attached. You need to really take that fact into account, that you should have at least 2 network cards or 4 network cards if you're going to have maybe 40 virtual machines or 30 virtual machines, and they're all just sending and receiving traffic from the poor one network card. So that's a suicide for the network card, obviously. So but right now we're creating 2 more port groups here and connecting it to the same switch. Okay, let's click next. Which connection to pick? So Munir is asking which connection to pick. Munir, do you see that on my screen? There's that globe sign here. Okay, so click that. And then select the third option. Third option, last one. Then you see this when you select the third option. and next, and yeah, keep it selected vSwitch 0 and go ahead. Yeah, this one. I hope you're seeing my screen. Virtual machine. Third. Okay, so let's then vSwitch is okay, and then click next. So here we just need to create a meaningful name here. So it is first of all, it is coming from VS1, right? And we understand what that means. Oh, sorry, VS0, sorry. VS0. This is virtual switch 0. So we're going to create 3 more switches later, right? 3 more switches. So VS0, defining it now would be a very good idea. And then suppose it's sales department, we can just put dash here and sales DEPT. So this is VS0 sales department, or we can just make it more meaningful, just sales and PG. So that's parental guide. No, that's a port group. So VS0 dash sales PG. So that would be, shortest name, and it has a meaning. It's a port group, obviously, and it's a sales department, and it's connected to vSwitch 0, right? So if you understand that, now VLAN ID is there 0. We can separate it VLAN, and if you drop down, you can see that 4095. Just if you suppose select that 4095, it means that it's going to accept all the other VLANs. This means that, or none, there are no VLANs. Suppose you have VLAN 2, VLAN 3, and there is one more port group. So port group, sales port group is on VLAN 2, and marketing port group is on VLAN 3, right? So, and this is another port group, IT port group. You put here VLAN, this all, so it will support both VLAN 2 and VLAN 3. Suppose you put here 2, just 2 here, right? So it will only support the sales, which was connected to 2, but it won't be able to connect to marketing, which was on 3. So the simple example is just if there are multiple VLANs, you go for all support or none, right? So VS0 sales PG, and there is none and 0. If that is selected, click next, and then click finish. So if we click finish, so our best friend recent task says what? It says it is done successfully, right? So and I'm gonna drag this guy a little up as well, because we have just one switch for now, right? So I can see, if I drop down here, I can see another port group created here, right? So VS0 sales PG, and then go for another port group. Let's create another port group quickly. Let's go back to this. And then go down to virtual port group for StandardSwitch. We're just doing the same thing again, right? And click next. And it will still be connected to vSwitch 0. And click next. We're just doing the same thing again. Again, click the globe button. And this time we are going for VS0 and dash Mark and PG. So Mark is my neighbor as well. He's a very nice guy, but here it means marketing. So VS0 dash marketing PG, or port group. So if you have put in that information, then click next. And that's it, finish. See, so simple. Well, it's not that simple when we go inside a port group. It's a whole planet inside. So it's just not like if you ever handled Windows Active Directory, and majority of you have, so you would know that there is organizational unit, and that is, as the name says, is organizing users and computers. So here it is organizing machines, yes, but after that we're going to go inside and check what else is there in a port group other than just organizing. So what we need to do is, in my case, I have the default port group as VM network, which is handling 2 machines. Maybe some of you have 1 machine, maybe some of you have 3 machines. It doesn't really matter. So let's just simply disconnect. So go ahead and expand that like this. See this? Expand that like this, right? So once you expand, you see that your virtual machines are connected here, right? So now we just need to disconnect this machine, first VM, from the default port group, and we need to connect it to sales port group, right? So the boss says, hey, why don't you just put that first machine, it belongs to the sales department, so why don't you just disconnect it from the current port group and connect it to where it says 0 now, connect it to sales port group, right? Let's do this. So if we understand what we're doing, so I'm going to go to the virtual machine itself, this one. Let's go to the virtual machine itself, your first name VM01, and then first select it, right? So I just clicked left click and I selected it. Then I'm gonna right click on top of that and go to this edit settings. So once we go to the edit settings here, what do we do? You know, what do we do is like Scooby-Doo. Oh, okay, no. Some of us may not know that. Anyway, so right click and edit settings. And once we click the edit settings, what are we changing here? Where do we go? Hard disk, SCSI controller, floppy drive, video card. Oh, we need to go to the network adapter. And network adapter, NIC, exactly. So NIC, and then we're going for sales PG. So let's click the sales PG here. So suppose that's the scenario, sales PG. And once you've selected the sales PG here, that's it. So that's it. Press OK. That's all, right? Go ahead and press OK. So this is my best friend. Recent task is saying done. All right, done, right? So, well, is it done, really? So I'm gonna go back to that virtual switch to know is my sales port group showing this machine or not, right? How do I do that? I need to go back. So where's back? This. So go to Esxi01 here. And then click vSwitch 0. And once you click vSwitch 0, do we all see that machine showing inside the port group VS0 sales PG or not? So I see here one written for the VS0 sales PG, and I'm going to expand that, and it shows here. So everyone sees that. So yes, Imane says yes, and Shiva says yes, Mayar says yes. Okay, so pretty much everyone, right? So Kim says, Manu says yes, and Vinay. Okay, so everyone is good. Woohoo! Everyone is okay. Okay, so guys, now we're good. This is easy, right? I'm just okay. Yes, what's up, also? This is easy stuff, and I just wanted you to be in the state of getting up and running on. We're on the first gear now in the car, and we need to go to the second gear, then third gear, and that's the fourth gear, right? Okay, so now if we are done with that sales, a port group, but is the port group really just for this purpose, or is there something else with the port group? So let's try to understand that too. In order to understand what else is inside a port group, first we need to go to check that what is support group. Yes, you're right. I totally agree with that. Yeah. Okay. Somebody actually accidentally hit the mic, so I'm gonna try to mute all again. There's no force mute here. Like, okay. Anyway, so that's welcome to WebEx. Now we need to check first what is inside a vSwitch 0, and then we're gonna go inside then what is inside every port group as well. Port groups are very powerful features that have a lot inside, but let's go to the top and let's click that vSwitch 0 here. And once you click the vSwitch 0, there is that pencil sign here, right? Edit settings, this one. So if you see that, let's click that. So select vSwitch 0 and go inside this. And first of all, you see that properties, number of ports is elastic. Elastic just means that you need, it will give automatically the ports to the virtual machines as they connect. Suppose you create here 50 virtual machines. So those virtual machines will automatically be given ports to connect to the virtual switch ultimately, right? So elastic just means that you can give your ports will be available for the machines. They will be connected. They will communicate with each other. So Shalendra is saying that VMs are showing inaccessible. So guys, if your VMs are showing inaccessible, I'm just gonna click cancel just to show that troubleshooting here. One troubleshooting that I know, and hopefully that's the one that you're seeing. So Shalendra, if you're seeing there, you can select Esxi01 here, and if it is selected, Shalendra, then you can go to storage adapters here, right? I hope your server 1 is started, is powered on, because without that, we don't have any oxygen, right? Server 1 is oxygen for the whole environment, so it has those roles. So go to storage adapters, and there is that one link here. So guys, this troubleshooting is for everyone. If your storage somehow did not get detected, because storage is living in server 1, server 2 is vCenter. So server 1 and server 2 needs to be communicating with each other, right? So just click this rescan, and all the storage will be rescanned if server 1 is up. And also that you should turn off the firewall on server 2, Windows firewall, and on server 1 turn off the Windows firewall. Okay, so as I was saying here, if we I'm going to go back to virtual switches here, and then vSwitch 0, and then here the pencil sign. So if we click the pencil sign here, so there is that number of ports elastic, and that is automatic. So second thing is MTU. So those Cisco gurus, can you tell me what is MTU? This is very famous in Cisco, and we have PhD in Cisco, doctorate in Cisco guys here as well. Maximum transmission unit, exactly. So that's the packet size that you can assign here. And we're not supposed to really mess with that 1500. It will take more bandwidth if you make it bigger. But MTU is just that, how much the payload you want to take on a typical packet in a traffic. So we're not supposed to really touch that unless we have a very good reason. Then this is in properties, right? Then we go to security here. And in security, there is a promiscuous mode, there is a MAC address changes, there's forged transmits here. And promiscuous mode is reject. So first of all, promiscuous mode just means that you want to have detailed traffic, diagnostic traffic to be released as well. Obviously, when you go for promiscuous mode, so there will be, all virtual machines will have not only their traffic going, their packets going, leaving the virtual machine and coming inside, but also the diagnostic traffic will also then start coming up, that how is the bandwidth, how much packets are traveling at what time, what is the peak time, so how over the network the traffic is transferring. So that is promiscuous mode. And the promiscuous mode is on reject because you will only enable it when you want to diagnose what is the problem with the network, if the packets are being dropped so much. And how will you detect that traffic? How would you capture that traffic? Anyone knows a software, that famous software that captures traffic? Anyone knows a famous, oh, there you go. So Wireshark, yes. So maybe we talked about that before as well, but yeah, you guys are sharp. So not shark, sharp. Yeah. So you guys are sharp. No. Okay. So here, so that's very good. And so promiscuous mode is, it's going to then spread or release some diagnostic traffic. It better on reject. Heard of T-Shark as well. Oh, okay, that's good. So other than Wireshark, there's a T-Shark. Okay. No, not Shrek. No. Okay. So sharp. I said sharp. Okay. So here. Okay. So MAC address changes and forged transmits. Now these are related to These are related to changing of. Oh, sorry. I just pushed the wrong button. So I should be telling myself, what did we talk about pushing buttons? Yeah, normally kids are told that. I'm going to open a slide, and that slide will just so normally MAC address changes and force transmits are both used where your MAC address has to be changed. So MAC address changes is acceptable whenever you have load balancers available and in front of a load balancer. Okay, I'll just use a drawing tool here. So suppose you have a one machine, two machine, three machine, four machine, five machine, and there's a load balancer, and then there's a switch here, and the switch needs to know that I have MAC address of either one MAC address it needs to know to communicate or send the traffic, or it needs the MAC address of all the machines in the background. Suppose these are virtual machines here, and these are sending, and the traffic is being transferred by this load balancer or LB, right? So load balancer is sending traffic. So if the MAC address changes are happening, so every virtual machine when you create it has a MAC address, right, of its own. But the load balancer says no, there is only one MAC address, Mr. Switch. There is only one MAC address. This is an external switch, right? So and that external switch says, oh, so I'm dealing with one MAC address. Okay, I'm going to send traffic to that MAC address, and I'll keep this in mind that there's just one guy that I'm dealing with. Instead of this load balancer is actually transferring traffic to all of them. So this way it does not have to track all the MAC addresses. Suppose the virtual machine is actually down here, this is also down, and the traffic is not reaching there. So physical switch will also be confused that hey, that MAC address is down, and sometimes you create a new virtual machine, that's a new MAC address now, right? And it even happens so that because MAC addresses are also virtually given, right? So another machine could have the same MAC address, which is rare, but it can happen as well. So the thing is, if you want the load balancer to work properly, in plain English, what I can say is, if you want to work, okay, MTU should be on default. Yes, Shiva, MTU should be on default. We did not make any changes there. I just saw the chat here. So guys, here, if you want load balancer to work as default, then keep the MAC address changes, except if it wants to change the MAC address and tell the physical switch, hey, there's just one MAC address, you're just dealing with me, there's no one else behind me. So it's okay. The virtual physical switch doesn't have to really process a lot of extra information. So force transmits is also for a MAC address, that if you are having multiple MAC address, there could be a hacker machine here as well that can be forging a MAC address. Hey, I'm a legit machine here, and I want to, I'm one of these guys, while this is a hacker machine here, right? So if the MAC address is changed by load balancer, no, we just have one MAC address. We don't have any extra, so hacker machine cannot actually put its information in the physical switch to be acceptable as a legit virtual machine here, right? It will still be cast out. So these things, these configurations, especially if you are going for security, maybe you do a CISSP course, which is a great in demand security course nowadays. Because of the unusual circumstances, we are even more online than before. So the cloud subject, the cloud is even more important now because the whole planet is online. So security would be even more major concern. It was already a major concern. So having those certifications of CISSP or CEH, these are all tough certifications, but these are huge in demand nowadays. Certified Ethical Hacker or CISSP. And there are other security certifications as well. Anyway, so these settings should be set to default and kept as default unless you have a very good reason to change them. So I'm just gonna put that away. And if you go for traffic shaping here, so traffic shaping is that you wanna put a cap on these virtual machines, you're sending too much traffic outside. Why don't I just put a cap on that? From now on, suppose you enable it, do not enable it, we're not going to enable it, I'm just showing you. Suppose you say that, hey, virtual machines, you cannot send more than 100,000 kilobits per second. You cannot use bandwidth more than 100,000 kilobits per second. So you can put a cap on that. You can put a peak bandwidth. Hey, you cannot reach more than that. So average bandwidth should not be more than this. peak bandwidth should not be more than this, and burst size could be again in bursts when you're sending packets, so that size could also be not more than that. So now the suggestion would be here that don't touch this. So for critical machines, we should not put a cap on that. You know, if they do reach more bandwidth and they are critical for your business, they are earning you $1 million there per month. So you should not put a cap on that. Maybe there's a good reason that it needs more bandwidth, and you should actually increase the bandwidth instead of putting a cap on that. So you should go for less critical, non-critical machines. Maybe they are asking for more bandwidth. So you should put a cap on those virtual machines. So create a new switch, connect that switch to two network cards separate, and connect those non-critical machines to that separate switch. And so if I just create the diagram for that as well, it would be that you have a switch here, and you have VM, and then VM, and then, so this is suppose critical VM here, right? So, and this switch, they are connected to a port group in the switch, and then that switch is connected to two NICs here, right? So these two NICs are there. Okay, let me just, oh. So these two NICs are there, right? So and then you have, so in the port group here, you can keep it unlimited, but here you have two non-critical machines, maybe file servers that has just ISOs, and people are downloading the ISOs and big applications there, and but these are non-critical. They are taking some critical bandwidth there, and they are claiming the bandwidth that is really needed for these VMs. So you can create a separate switch there, connect these two machines to them, and then go for separate NICs for these guys as well, and then you can put a cap on it as well, right? So, and you can change it to, hey, you cannot use more than this bandwidth. So you can do that too. Although it's a separate switch, even if you don't put a cap, it doesn't matter because it's totally separate switch there, right? So, but you can configure it like these as well. So so that's why we're not going to change that. If you did change that to enable, disable it, go ahead and disable it. Burst size is so in the chat there's a burst size, and burst size is just that the data is sent into bursts, like if the machines are there's a VM here and there's a VM here, and the data is being sent one by one, or packet one by one, so it is sent in bursts if it's huge data there and you have configured the network to be used that way. So though that burst size or one payload of a packet cannot be more than this is a huge payload, and it would be a big frame then, but when we talk about frame sizes, it is in the properties in the MTU. This is just a collection of packets that makes a one burst, second burst, third burst that is going on, and that collection of packets cannot be more than this. So that would be okay. Then there's another question. Mustafa is saying that what will happen if it reaches cap? So all the packets will drop. So if it reaches all the, suppose these are the cable here, and then a lot of data is moving until it is, there's no space, there's collision going on. As soon as the collision starts, the data will start dropping, right? So data will drop, and actually, of course, you have to resend that traffic again. That's gone. And the data will be slow, or it will be terribly slow. The traffic will be terribly slow, or data will be dropped. So in these cases, data slow and data drop if it reaches the cap. So obviously, that would not be a very nice thing to happen for a critical machine, right? So these are some of the things that we need to understand. Okay, so here we have status, make sure it is disabled unless you have some good reason to enable it. And then we go down to teaming and failover. And teaming and failover, that's very interesting here. Yeah, I'm recording that. Okay, so teaming and failover is that route based on, so first of all, load balancing configuration you need to check. Then there's network failure detection, then notify switches and fallback. So load balancing has more options here. There is route based on IP hash, route based on source MAC hash, route based on originating virtual port, and then use explicit failover order. So explicit failover order is just that one machine, one actually network card is up, and the other one is standby, and it can fail over. The standby can become active. But what are these load balancing options other than that? So if we go for those load balancing options, so route based on IP hash, that is, suppose there are virtual machines here, and this is the first time you've configured it on this particular hypervisor, and there's Nic here, Nic1, Nic2, Nic3. So what happens is, first of all, if you connect the Nic network cards there, we talked about this active adapters, we talked about standby adapters, we talked about unused adapters. If you put two network adapters in active adapters, they come inside a Nic team. They become a Nic team. If you put three network adapters in under the active adapters here, so they will become a team, right? Nic team. So, and that would be obviously Nic team. Right? So route based on IP hash just means that what really happens is, if that all machines the first day when they were created, or everything was configured and they started sending or receiving data, so when the machine starts sending receiving data, network cards actually select that which machine first time sent them data, and they only start receiving data from only that machine. So suppose the third machine started sending data, all machines started sending data, right? But the third machine started sending data to Nic3. Now Nic3 will check that, oh, okay, its IP address is this, and IP hash or information about the IP is this. So now I have saved that information. Now this machine, I'm going to be the network card who will send and receive data for this particular machine. So if ever the data coming in or out is overwhelming, then it can I'll redirect its data to the second one or the third one. If it's not overwhelming, I will be the only one network card that will keep on receiving the data of that virtual machine. Suppose the other machine went for Nic1, okay, it got, if it was IP hash based, it will also do the same thing. Oh, this is the IP, okay, from now on I'm going to receive the data. And this one went for, oh, this is the IP, I'm going to receive that. And same story here. Suppose it also went for this one, so it will remember two IP addresses of two machines. If it is MAC hash, it's just a little more. So not only that the network card will save the information of IP, it will also save the information of MAC address of virtual machine. So it will say that Nic3 will say, oh, this is the IP and MAC of this virtual machine. So I'm gonna remember that. Suppose the IP changes for this machine, it still has the MAC address. So if there's a new IP here, because of the MAC address information also saved, it will still keep on receiving from the same machine. Now, why same machine? Why not first time this Nic, second time it's sending a data, then this Nic, third time it's sending a data, then this Nic. So this is a bit slower comparatively, a bit more milliseconds it takes for data to. This is continuous one network card, so data is a bit faster than if it is always distributing every time. That's one of the reasons. So, and if we go for route based on originating virtual port, suppose this machine is SQL. Anyone knows the port that the SQL uses? Oh man, we have database gurus here. SQL uses which port? Anyone knows? No, Dawson. It does not use that port. No, Jack. The SQL server, guys. Hey, by now I would have, if I were you, I would have Googled it. So, okay. So, yes. So, Sean. Okay. So, it is 1443. In cloud labs, you really need to know all the ports. You know, the new cloud 2-in-1 AWS and Azure class started this Saturday morning. Everything is online now. So, obviously, we're going to do all the labs in depth. But the thing is, you really need to know ports, guys. Remember some of the common ports, right? So, and suppose this machine is Active Directory and DNS. So what are the ports for Active Directory and DNS both? Again, you're stuck, right? No, you're not. Active Directory is 338. DNS is, okay, tell me just DNS. What is the port for DNS? Ah, there you go, Jack. So it's 53. So originating port, virtual port. So it would be whatever port is there, and vCenter has approximately, like, its different services have like 11 or 12 ports. So all those ports, right? And whichever port is, suppose there's a web server, so obviously it will be port 80 or port 4434 for HTTPS and port 84 without HTTP. So all these ports, so originating port is remembered by the NIC, and then the traffic is continuously sent to that network card. So that's the four types of, and the last one is it does not remember any of this. Use explicit failover order, and the data can be sent anywhere to any network card from any virtual machine at any time, and it can failover if one NIC goes down or the other NIC goes down, right? So we can just you can see already its originating port by default selected here, but you can select any one of those here. If that is understood, I'm just going to go ahead. So by default, I think it was originating port, virtual port, which is also okay. Then there is network failure detection. There is link status only, and there is beacon probing. So guys, link status only is that if the link is down, detect it and failover. Simple, right? If the link is down, detect it, failover. Beacon probing is, hey, send some packets out into the network and discover discover the surrounding networks, which network is down, which network is up, right? Mercy. So guys, 10-minute break. Oh, 10-minute break. Okay. So we're gonna start exactly from here. Is that okay with everyone, or? But this means that this 10-minute break is the only break. Oh, I didn't hear that one. Which load balancing method is more common? Shiva is asking. So, depends on your situation, Shiva. It could be MAC and hash if you really want the NIC to remember it. IP hash for just general information about IP. Depends on the situation. It's not any particular, but normally administrators just keep it to default. It doesn't really make a very big deal. After 5-minute break. Okay, so one is asking 10, one is 5. So guys, it is a 15-minute break, this means. But after that, we go straight till 10, right? So 15-minute break would be good. Okay. So the class starts at 7:32, 42, and 46. So class starts at, so break. Class starts 7. Be here before that, guys. 7:46. We need to cover a lot. $7.50. Okay. So official is 46, but yeah, like okay, I'm muting. dos, uno. Okay, guys, so we've started here, and so hopefully everyone's back. And so what we were talking about, the load balancing, network failure detection, notify switches, and so failure detection, network failure detection. There was a beacon probing, and that was just to send packets to understand which networks are up, which networks are down. So this beacon probing is just probing of the surrounding networks. So notify switches, that is yes, and this means that the switch should be notified whether a network is down or the failover has occurred between two network cards or not. So obviously we want the switches to know that. So that is yes. Failback, and that is yes. So failover we understand, but anyone knows what is a failback? Why the failback is yes? Or what is failback? Anyone knows that? What is failback here? So if rollback, yeah, similar to rollback or disaster recovery, rollback, exactly. So if NIC1 was the active NIC, suppose, and you put the NIC2 as a standby, so this is A, this is S, standby. So it went down here for some time, and NIC2, which was standby, it became active NIC, right? So, but then NIC1 came back. Maybe there was some ordinary issue there, and it is up and running. So, rollback or failback would be that it will go back to NIC1 as being the active one. So it will just roll back, as you can see, or fail back as well. So this is yes, it's up to you. You want to go for no, I want to stick to the new active NIC. Oh, no, I want to fail back to, if the NIC one is back again, I want to fail back to that as being the active NIC, in case you want active and standby configuration in that case, right? So exactly as you guys said, so it's just rolling back to the NIC that was there as the active NIC before the disaster, right? So we understand that, and now what we need to do is we need to quickly so this was all active adapters, standby adapters, unused adapters, and this you can see was properties, security, traffic shaping, teaming and failover. That was on in the properties of a virtual switch. Okay, virtual switch is a big thing. It's a switch, so it has to have some properties, and we needed to know about switch. But what about the port groups now? Weren't port groups only there for just organization, or does port group have some other purpose as well? So we talked about switch, virtual switch, and we did not change anything in the security. We just discussed all the options there. And let's cancel out from the switch here. Let's cancel out from the switch. Let's cancel out from the switch. So once we cancel out from the switch, we're back here. So I'm just gonna make this screen full screen now. I'm going to make it full screen now, so you can see better. Okay, so vSwitch 0, and we entered the pencil sign, but how about if we go down to any one port group, either marketing port group or sales port group or VM network default port group? They are all the same, right? So if I go to VM network port group here, I select the port group, go ahead and select the port group here, and then we need to go inside a port group as well. Is it just for organization, or does it have a lot of other features as well? So I'm just going to select VM network port group of vSwitch 0, and then we're going to click edit here. Once we click edit here, so what we can do is this is the label of it. We don't need to really change that, but if you want it, we can. So first thing, port group support VLAN as well. Second thing, you can see that all the security features are here as well, which we saw in the vSwitch 0. So that's very good. If we go to security, you can just override those same options which were in the switch. You can override those options on a port group level. So that's how advanced the port groups are, or they do act like all the features of a switch are in each port group as well. So they have all these features. This means that you can overwrite any of these features for any of the port group, and that would be again if we go for the diagram here. So that would be if you have one PG here, and that PG is for critical machines, and then there's a PG here, port group 2, which is for non-critical machines, right? Non-critical. So obviously what I would suggest is that go for port group 1, which has all the critical VMs here. Suppose there are 10 critical VMs. That port group should be created to a virtual switch here. So this would be vSwitch 0, and that switch should be connected to two NICs there, right? NIC 1 and NIC 2, right? And then there should be another port group here, PG2, and that should be connected to virtual switch 1. So vSwitch 0 was first, and virtual switch 1 is the second switch, and it should also have its own NIC 1 and NIC 2, right? So and you can just do traffic shaping then on your own terms. Suppose this is non-critical and you want to shape the traffic here, or you want to put some different teaming and failover features for the port group here. So you can actually do that if it has its own separate set of switch and separate set of network cards. Otherwise, each port group can still, being on the same switch also, you can override any of those features. Just be careful. You should know what exactly you're doing there, right? So this would be a ideal configuration what we are seeing here, but otherwise it's just okay. So I'm just gonna go out of here. So you can see that traffic shaping also has an override switch here button, and teaming and failover, every option here is an override for the port group as well. So whatever you understood in virtual switch 0 or any virtual switch that will have those options, these port groups or every port group you create will have those options that you can override for that particular port group, and they will be then implemented on the particular virtual machines connected to that port group, right? So that's how advanced the port groups are. So they're not just for separation or organization of machines. They have all these traffic shaping, security, and teaming and failover, and load balancing, and network failure detection, and notify switches feature, and fallback as well. So one port group, one new switch, then you can use the fallback feature, and you can use the how many network cards you need just for this particular port group, because that many virtual network cards you need to arrange, physical network cards you need to arrange for that virtual switch as well that is connected to this port group. So we understand that these are all port groups that have the same features as virtual switch. So I'm just going to, other than MTU, all the features are same in a port group that the virtual switch has. So let's click cancel out from here. So we understand how to create a port group and what is inside a port group. It's pretty much the same as what virtual switch has, other than the MTU option there. So but that thing here, if we go still to the diagram of a virtual switch 0, we just have one network card. So I remember in the last class we had added online the 8 network cards. So how many of you have added those 8 network cards as well to both hypervisors? So how many of you have added the 8 network cards to both hypervisors? Oh, Imani did that. Okay. Ooh. Only one. I didn't. Yes, I also didn't actually. So let's do that. Yay! So those who didn't do that, you can follow me, and those who did that, you can sit back and enjoy the show, right? Because we need more network cards now here, and also that throughout the course we're gonna need those network cards one by one. So those who did not do that, can you please follow me? So what we are doing now is we need some more network cards because vMotion, I will try at least to go for that feature as well. That's an advanced feature. So if we go back to the diagram, we have just one virtual switch that is connected to just one samosa shaped network card, right? So if you check that out, so this virtual standard switch 0 is just connected to one network card, and this virtual switch standard 0 is connected to just one network card, right? So we're going to be adding actually 8 more, making it total of 9 network cards here. And we're going to also make sure that this network card, this virtual switch 0 also has redundant network cards here, or the NIC team is available here and here. But we're going to then need 8 new NICs, and total we will have total 9 NICs, right? So 8 new NICs and total 9 NICs, not only for Esxi 2 but Esxi 1 as well. So 8 new NICs, total 9 NICs. So if you haven't, those who haven't done that, let's start doing that. And obviously you have to restart the Esxi 01 after that, but that will be the one time only that you have to do that, and after that throughout the course you don't have to do that again. Why we're adding more network cards? Because we need to follow some best practices or ideal environment here, so we could know that and compare. When you join any company and you see that environment here, you can see that, oh, we can have 2 network cards instead of 1, so why not? So okay, so let's go for Esxi 01 and add there the network card. So if we go for Esxi 01 within VMware workstation here, and this area here is called DCUI, or Direct Console User Interface, DCUI, Direct Console User Interface. So if you click the Esxi 01 machine here, and then right click on top of that, and then click settings. So we are adding 8 more network cards to Esxi 01. Then we are adding, and then we are restarting the Esxi 01. Then we're going to add 8 more network cards to Esxi 02, and we're going to restart that as well. So let's go for right click Esxi 01 and settings. I hope everyone's following. And then I do have just one network card, and yeah, strangely, seriously, in the video you saw that I only had 3 network VMnets there. Now it's all 19 back. Okay, so yeah, my machine is officially haunted. Okay, so I'm just going to go for add here, this add button, and then I'm going to go for network adapter here, this one, and I'm going to click finito. So these all network adapters have to be also on the same VMnet as the first adapter is, right? So go ahead, I'm just going to put them, later I'm going to change them to all to VMnet 15 for no particular reason. 15, it could be 13, 14, 18, 19, whichever. So right now, because the first one is on VMnet 1, so I'm just putting the all others on VMnet 1 as well. So that's one added. I'm just going to go ahead and start adding add, network adapter, finish, custom, VMnet 1. Oh, I should just choose VMnet 1 from here. And then add network adapter. So yeah, when you're watching the video, you can just fast forward it, and I'll be talking like, yeah. So like that. Here it's just add network adapter, and it's like this. So there, it will sound funny when you fast forward that. And so I added 4, and 4 more, and 3 more. 2 more. Yeah, I know it's boring. 1 more. Yay. Okay. So 3. Okay, 9 total. We're good. So I'm just going to press OK here for Esxi 01. So if you had VMnet 19 given to the first network adapter, give VMnet 19 to all others as well, or VMnet 15, so all VMnet 15. If you are done adding total of 9 network cards, added for 8, but total of 9, then right click here, Esxi 01, go to power, and restart guest. Do not power off, do not reset, just go for restart guest, right? So just go for restart guest, this one. I'm going to do that. It's going to restart because we cannot detect the network card while it is on, or well, some hardware allows that. So I'm just going to go quickly to Esxi02 and go to settings, and I'm going to add more. Oh, add 8 more here as well. Wow, 8 add more. Seriously, what's wrong with me? So network adapter finish, and okay, I'm getting sleepy. Wow, sitting home. Seriously. Hopefully the situation gets better for everyone. And if you have extra masks, I'll send you my address, and you can send me at least 50 of them. Thank you very much. Or you can tell me any good site you can share with others. Hey, that guy is selling masks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 more. Okay, I think we're done. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, that is it. Very good. So I'm just gonna press OK here and restart. So I'm gonna right click and go to Esxi02 and restart guest. Okay, so it's I think Esxi01 has restarted already, which is good. So guys, we need to make sure that your Esxi1 has is showing 8 network cards. So that will be your screenshot number 1. And then Esxi2 is showing 8 network cards, that or 9 network cards totally, sorry, total 9 network cards within vCenter, and that will be your screenshot number 2. So yeah, we are still taking screenshots. So so go ahead, those who have already added, so which screenshot to take? See this, I have added that Esxi01, it has restarted as well. Esxi2 is still restarting. So Esxi1 has restarted. So I'm going to go back to server 2 here, and Esxi01 is here, and I need to go to configure, where we already are, and you can see we are already on virtual switches, and under virtual switches VM control adapters, and under VM control adapters is physical adapters. So in physical adapters you should have total 9 adapters showing, and take a screenshot of that. Then go to Esxi2 and physical adapters and take a screenshot of all 9 adapters there as well. So these are 2 screenshots. So I'm gonna go click this Esxi01 and configure, and go down to networking and physical adapters. So if I click the network adapters now, physical adapters here, so I can see, yeah, I can see all these physical adapters. If you see even multiple adapters, that's okay. You don't really have to have all 9 showing there, or you can go down to this, and if it shows from 3 to 8, that is also okay, or if you make the screen bigger, it can show more. But anyway, multiple adapters showing there. That's your first screenshot. Take a screenshot here, and then take the screenshot. Go to Esxi2 whenever it comes back. So I'm going to go to Esxi2. It just came back. Okay, for me it just came back. So if I go to server 2 here, and the vCenter, if I click from within the vCenter server Esxi2, it's detected now. Okay, that's good, because it just restarted, so it takes a little time to detect the hypervisor. So Esxi2 here and physical adapters, and there is that VM Nic. So go down to if the VMnet 8 is showing, rest of the multiple network adapters are showing, we're good. So Esxi 2, that's your second screenshot. I hope everyone has taken the 2 screenshots. So guys, you don't really need to wait for Esxi 2 to start. Let's go back to Esxi 1. I hope everyone's back to Esxi 01. Yes. Okay, thank you for the reply. So if you've added total, added 8 adapters, restarted Esxi 1, and if it is fully restarted, then let's carry on. Maybe you're adding the adapters to Esxi 2, and if you have added and you've restarted Esxi 2, then you can come back here. You can leave Esxi 2 into restarting and come back to Esxi 01. So, okay, if everyone's on Esxi 01 here, then we can go to virtual switches again. I hope everyone's on virtual switches. Right? So I'm going to make this screen bigger. So inside the Esxi 01 and then virtual switches, you see just vSwitch 0. If I select that, then there's the diagram again appearing there. I'm just going to drag it up a little. So let's create vSwitch 1, 2, and 3. In fact, there's a slide there that I want to show, and we need to actually do that the diagram. We need to just play with some of the networking tools here just to understand that how those tools are working. So I'm just going to quickly put a diagram in front of you now that will show you what we need to do next. We're going to just pretend that we have that's it. That we have multiple machines, and there's a particular scenario about that. So I'm just going to go back here, go down to all these slides there. Okay, so guys, this is the scenario. I hope everyone's seeing this scenario here. So we're going to now pretend that within one virtual machine, we want to create a type of data flow. So I'm going to explain that data flow with the help of this here. So how the data flow is really working. So first of all, there is virtual machine 1, virtual machine 2, virtual machine 3, virtual machine 4 within one hypervisor. So we're going to do that on Esxi 01. That's the first thing. I hope you all are understanding that. Now, there is one virtual switch here, second virtual switch here, and third virtual switch here, right? And then the first virtual switch is connected to one physical network card. The third virtual switch is connected to another one physical network card. But you notice, hopefully you notice that the virtual switch 2 is not connected to any physical network card. So the traffic can come and out, in and out from the physical network to the virtual network through virtual switch 1. And the traffic can come and go out of the virtual to the physical and physical to the virtual from virtual switch 3. But the traffic will remain inside because it cannot go out or come from inside outside to inside from virtual switch 2 because it does not have a physical NIC. So why is that environment here, and what are we supposed to do? We are going to create exactly that same environment to prove that this whole scenario is possible. So what is a scenario? Scenario is this is a firewall and there is a firewall here. So maybe you've heard the term DMZ before, demilitarized zone. In one class I said what is DMZ, and the student said North Korea. So no, it's not. DMZ is not related. DMZ is in many other countries as well. But the thing is that demilitarized zone just means that there is a firewall that is connecting to inside network, right? Suppose it's the local it is the LAN, right? Local area network. And then there's a firewall that is connected to WAN, right? So this is coming from, so we're pretending that there's a web server and there's an application server that the inside users want to access and outside user also want to access, right? So what we need to do here is that if the user wants to access the application from outside, they have to connect, and there's a firewall application here, right? There's a firewall application here. So if the user wants to connect from outside, they will hit this network card first, they will go to the virtual switch, and then they will hit this virtual network card in the virtual machine. So physical NIC first, then the virtual NIC, then the virtual switch, sorry, physical NIC, virtual switch, and then virtual NIC here. After that, it's going to go through the firewall rules and all the protections and restrictions, and then it's going to go to the second NIC, and through that NIC, the traffic will go and keep on going to this switch that is not connected to any outside physical NIC, and then from there, it's going to go inside to this NIC, and finally the user will reach that application, right? So, and internal users want to connect, obviously, you know now the story here, that first they will connect to the physical NIC, then they will connect to the virtual switch here inside the hypervisor, then they will connect to the virtual NIC inside a virtual machine that has a firewall application. They will go through all the rules that will implement on them, and then they go to the second network card to the internal virtual machines here, and through this virtual switch they will connect to that machine, or this traffic can connect to this one as well, and this traffic can connect to this one as well, right? So the thing is, I hope you understand what's going on, that you want to create a data flow within one hypervisor, and that data flow should really be connected in such a way that this network card can only be connected to this virtual switch, and this network card can only be connected to this virtual switch, while this network card will connect to this virtual switch, this will also connect to this virtual switch, this will also connect to this virtual switch, and this network card will also connect to this virtual switch. So it becomes a little complicated. To the web server first. So it becomes a little complicated here, but can we actually create a specific data flow within an ESXi hypervisor the whole exercise is about how many network tools we can use here. What does VMware StandardSwitch offer in terms of networking? Can we actually create a data flow like this? We're not going to be able to test it because we don't have any firewall application here. There are no operating systems inside, and we have a very limited hardware where we can create an application and all this. But we're going to still make 4 virtual machines. If you have already 3, create 1 more, or we're going to create it together. We're going to rename those virtual machines as the names here. Then we're going to create all these components one by one. I hope we all understand what is going on here. We're just creating a data flow where either somebody wants to connect to these 2 applications from outside, that person has to go through this machine. If somebody from within the company wants to connect to these 2 applications, they have to go through this virtual machine in order to reach the inner 2 applications. So this is the scenario we want to create. I hope we understand all. If there's any question about this scenario, please put it in the chat. Otherwise, we start implementing that now. If you're silent, this means you understood what I'm talking about. Otherwise, there's a question there, you can ask. Okay, so if there's a silence, this means you understood. Or maybe that CP24 breaking news is more exciting. Just kidding. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to implement that one by one. I'm going to remove this mess now. Diagram here. So, see, it looks cleaner, right? Okay, so here, now what we need to do is, we need to create exactly this environment, right? So, means that really exactly like that. So, here, what we need to do is we're going to be creating virtual switch 1, we're going to create virtual switch 2, we're going to create virtual switch 3, right? We have enough network cards now. So let's create that first. Then we're going to create, as many virtual machines you have. We need to have a total of 4 virtual machines, and then we're going to try to have some extra network cards in the virtual machine as well. So first, let's go ahead and create 3. We're not going to touch vSwitch 0. We're going to create virtual switch 1, 2, and 3. We just want to play with all the network equipment here. So just to create the data flow, let's go back here to our Esxi01, and then we're going to create new switches now. So what we need to do is we're going to go here. I hope everyone's on Esxi01. Configure and virtual switches. Then click this. Your add host networking, this one. I hope everyone's there. And once you have clicked add host networking, then we go for virtual machine port group for a standard switch. So we're going to, again, we're not adding a port group now. We're adding a second switch, third switch, fourth switch, right? But we still have to go this way. So let's select the third option again to create a second switch and click next. And now we go for new standard switch. Let's click that, new standard switch. And then, so we're not going to connect with that. So first it's going to create a new standard switch. Then it's going to ask, hey, what is the port group that you want to create? So with a new standard switch, you must always create a new port group. It always asks that. Obviously, it doesn't make sense if you don't have a port group, but you have a new switch. So let's click that new standard switch and click next. Once you click next here, so it says, hey, you have any network adapters? So we can just go to plus sign here and just add one adapter. Go for VMNIC 1. Later, when we go for vMotion, we're going to add more two network adapters there when we introduce advanced features. But here, just add one adapter, VMNIC 1, and press OK. So there's one network adapter attached to one virtual switch, and click next. And then it is asking, oh, there's a port group that has to be created here. So what is the name of this port group? So being a sharp administrator, you must give it a meaningful name. So it will be VS1-PG1, which means this is the first port group of virtual switch 1. There's a virtual switch 0. So now first port group, this means that there could be more port groups there as well. But this is the first port group. We're just going to create one port group, but naming should be meaningful. And you should always create names for the long term. So if you've put in that VS1-PG1, then click next. That's it. So ready to complete and click finito. So we are creating a second switch called vSwitch1 that has a port group 1 created inside, right? So let's click finish here, and our best friend recent task says completed. So that's a second switch created, vSwitch1. So according to our diagram, this would be that virtual switch 1 that we're talking about. Let's quickly create vSwitch2, vSwitch3 with the same port group name respectively. So I'm going to go back to this add host networking again, and I'm going to click here, and again the third option, and click next. Again go for new standard switch and click next. Again just one network. Should we create a network card here or not, guys, according to the diagram? Yes or no? Should we attach a network card? Okay, my heart says no. Oh, okay, so you guys remember the setting. Okay, that's good, that's good, that's good. So yes, there will be no network card connected here, but obviously I need to show you. So first virtual switch got created here, connected to one physical NIC. Second virtual switch will be created here without any physical NIC, and it's going to actually ask a warning message. Hey, are you sure you want to connect a, don't want to connect a physical network card? So we're going to say no. And then the third virtual switch will be actually connected to a physical NIC. So we're on the second one, it's still going to ask for a port group. Obviously we will create that. So if we go back here, so no network card to this particular virtual switch, and click next. Now it's gonna ask, are you sure? Really? You're kidding me? No? Okay, so let's just press OK for this, that yes, we want to go ahead, we know what we're doing. So, and then the naming convention has to be according to the scenario. So VS2-PG1. So this is the port group 1 of virtual switch 2. Before it was virtual switch 1 PG1, now it's virtual switch 2 PG1. So still it's the port group 1 of this particular switch. And click next and finish. Finish. Our best friend recent task says completed. Okay, and we go for the third switch. So add host networking again. Now we know the drill. Go for the third one, virtual switch, virtual machine port group for a standard switch. Click next, and new standard switch, and then click next. And now we will have to add one network card here as per the diagram. So plus sign here, and whatever is the next NIC, just select that and press OK. And next. Okay, so and we understand now VS3-PG1. So that's the port group 1 of virtual switch 3. So VS1, VS2, VS3 we created ourselves, and each has its own PG1 or first port group. So VS3-PG1 and click next and finish. Now recent task says completed, we're good. So there are 3 virtual switches created here. vSwitch1, vSwitch3 connected to one network card each. vSwitch2 has no connection to a physical NIC. Okay, I hope we understand that. So if we go back to our scenario here, so that is done. 3 switches are done, 2 network cards are done. Now we need to create a total of 4 virtual machines. We're gonna name them as whatever naming was there, but 1, 2, 3, 4 should be consistent. So 4 is connected to virtual switch 3 and 2. 3 is connected to only virtual switch 2. Virtual machine 2 is connected to only virtual switch 2. And virtual machine 1 is connected to virtual switch 1 and virtual switch 2. So, and we understand that this is just a data flow that we are creating for secure access of these applications from outside and inside. And both sides are connected with firewall or protected by firewalls. So we're just going to create total of 4 virtual machines, and we're going to connect them exactly this way. So if we go back here, so we can now go for the virtual machine. I have just 2 virtual machines. If you had 1, then create 3 more. If you have 2, create 2 more. If you have 3, create 1 more. So yeah, think out of the box. We need 4 virtual machines. The naming convention, your first name, VM01, 02, 03, 04, right? So right now just create with default options. Remember that the RAM is 1024 and hard disk is thin provision. Other than that, the naming convention respectively, and create. So I'm just going to go right click on Esxi01 and new virtual machine, and new virtual machine here. So create a new virtual machine here again and click next. And again, so it will be your first name, VM03. In my case, maybe you're creating a second one, so VM02 for you. Then go for 3, then go for 4. For me, it's 2 machines already, so it will be 3. So think out of the box and understand what your situation is. So click next E6i01 and click next. So DS0 or DS1, DS2, choose anyone. I'm just randomly choosing DS1 here for no particular reason, and I could just stick to DS0 as well or DS2, doesn't matter. As long as they are LAN based data stores, we're good. Next. E6i 6.5 and later is okay. Next, the operating system is okay. 2008. We're not installing an operating system. It's going to be 4 empty machines or 3 empty machines. So next here. Yeah, virtual hardware. Be careful here. It should not be 4 GB RAM. It should be 1024 here. The hard disk, expand that to thin provision, because we don't want to take any of the space of the hard disk, extra space. So thin provision doesn't take much space at all actually. So 1024 and thin provision, if that is done, next finish. Summary, finish. Since I had 2 already, this is my 3rd machine. While it is creating, I don't need to wait for that. I'm going to go for 4th machine now. Create a new virtual machine and click next. And the naming convention would be your first name, VM0, in my case 4 now. And next. E6i01 is okay. Next. And DS2. I'm just spreading the machines across different data stores. And for no particular reason, I'm selecting DS2. Seriously, it's not letting me select that. Okay, now it is. Next. 6.5 and later. Next. Windows Server 2008 R2 64-bit. Yeah, no change here. Only change, we know where to make that change. That is 1024 and thin provision. Next, finish. Yay! So we have 4 virtual machines created according to the diagram. If we go back here to the diagram, there is that virtual machine 1, virtual machine 2, virtual machine 3, virtual machine 4, right? So the thing is that the virtual machine 1 actually has 2 network cards. It's supposed to have 2 network cards. What we created has 1 network card, right? Not only that, but the one of the network card has to be connected to virtual switch 1. Second network card of virtual machine 1 needs to connect to virtual switch 2 according to the diagram. So first NIC, VM NIC or virtual NIC connects to virtual switch 1. Second virtual NIC connects to virtual switch 2. That is for virtual machine 1. Virtual machine 2 and 3 connects to virtual switch 2. Virtual machine 4 still have 2 network cards again, and one of them connects to virtual switch 3. Second one connects to virtual switch 2. So that's a data flow that we're proving that we can create that data flow within one hypervisor, having 4 virtual machines, and still we can control the whole data flow within that one hypervisor. So not only that, we're going to go to let's go to virtual machine 1. Not only that, we're going to add a second NIC, but we're going to connect each network card of a virtual machine to their respective switches. Then the second virtual machine, we're going to go to do the same thing, whichever switch it needs to connect to. 2 and 3 connects to virtual switch 2, and then the 4, whichever virtual switch they are supposed to connect to. We're going to do that now. So virtual machine 1, add a second network card, but connect them both to their respective switches. So I'm going to minimize that and full screen again. And we need to go for, there's a your first name VM01 and there is your first name 02. So I'm just going to go to your first name VM01 or VM01 machine here. Once you go to VM01 here, you can go ahead and right click here, VM01, right click here and go to edit settings. we need to add a second network card and connect them to their respective switches for VM01 according to the diagram. So I'm going to go to VM01 and edit settings. And now I need to add the second NIC in the virtual machine number 1. So how do we do that? So let's go down to this new device. I hope everyone's seeing the new device here, and go ahead and click select here, right? Go ahead and click select here. And then we go down, actually up to network. Okay, so once we click network here, so we still have to click the add button here. So go ahead and select the network and then add. Once you click the add, so there's one network card here and one second network adapter here. So the first network adapter, we're going to connect to virtual switch 1 according to the diagram. So we did name the port groups of the virtual switches that way. If you had named it just PG1 for all the virtual switches, VS1 PG and VS2 PG, suppose you did not put 1 there, or suppose you did not put VS1 there, just PG1, PG1, PG1. So right now it would be just PG written there. You would not know from here at least that this PG is coming from which virtual switch. So you have to name them, always remember that. So the first network card we're connecting to VS1 PG1, and the second network card of this virtual machine we're connecting to VS2 PG1, because each virtual switch must have a port group, so the virtual machine could see the port group and connect to that port group. So in turn, actually virtual machine is connecting to that switch. So that's it. So VS1 PG1 first network card, VS2 virtual switch 2 PG1 second NIC. So that's according to the diagram we're going ahead. Hopefully everyone was able to do that, and press O and K. So then the second virtual machine, we're gonna go to second virtual machine and right click there. Now I guess you understand the whole story. So according to the diagram, we're gonna go to edit settings for second virtual machine. It only has, according to the diagram, one virtual, so it should be only connected to one virtual switch, so only one network card needed here, which is already there. We're gonna connect this virtual machine to VS2 PG1. Virtual machine 2 connects to VS2 PG1, which is the port group coming from virtual switch 2, and press OK. Third one, the same story like the second machine. You go to third machine, right click here and go to edit settings here as well, and connect it to VS2 PG1. According to the diagram, second machine and third machine has to connect to virtual switch 2, and press OK. And we go for VM04. Now we know that we need to add a second network card and attach the two network cards to their respective switches. So right click here for this VM04, go down to edit settings here, and we just need to add a second network card first. So drop up and click network, and then click add. So the first NIC goes to VS3 PG1, the port group connected to virtual switch 3. The second NIC goes to VS2 PG1. So according to the diagram, now the traffic can be easily redirected according to our configurations. This is the data flow that we can create by adding network cards, virtual NICs to the virtual machine as well, and adding some virtual switches with two physical NICs and with one physical NIC or without physical NIC as well. So that's how we can play with a virtual standard switch in so many ways. So I'm going to press OK here. So according to then the diagram, this is all done here. Well, it will be a big stunt to actually test that, because you can just install proper software. First of all, you have to have some kind of operating system inside. Maybe you can do that at home. Try to install Ubuntu, those who are Linux gurus here. or some small OS there, or server core from Windows, and try to have some kind of testing there that if you are connected from virtual machine 4, maybe there's a fifth virtual machine here that pings. It goes through that. If all firewalls are on or off, actually, then it goes through that, and there will be 6 virtual machine here. Does it ping through all that to that machine? Well, that's just an interesting lab. It takes a long time. But if we can do this, then obviously with proper IP addressing, you can achieve a lot more after that. So, but if we needed to understand how standard switches work, so this is how standard switches really work. They have all the VLAN features as well as the load balancing features, and each port group has those features as well. And then the standard switches can be configured. You can have multiple standard switches. Each standard switch can have its own port groups that you can connect, and you can disconnect a virtual machine from one port group to another port group. So all this information we needed to know. So there's a question here by Munir that can I rename the NIC which I created? The NIC that you created, I don't think you can name a NIC there. No, but I haven't discovered that myself. So if you are able to do that, let me know as well. But I haven't checked it. I don't think we can. Well, inside the operating system we can, yes. But here, no. But inside the operating system, yes. But here, obviously, I also didn't check this. Inside the operating system, you can name it LAN, you can name it WAN, yeah. But the operating system is not there, so that's why we cannot put it right now. Okay, guys, so if there are any other questions for that, that would be great. Otherwise, we go for vMotion. Okay, so you checked, and thank you, sir. Thank you, Marine, for that. So it's not possible. Okay. So guys, let's go for another very exciting feature, and that is vMotion. Oh, okay. She was saying I'm behind. Hey, anyone's virtual machine being seen or appearing in somebody else's laptop? I hope not. So Mariam's virtual machine is in Shiva's laptop, or Shiva's virtual machine Mariam's laptop. No, right? Or yeah, okay. So hopefully that's not the case. I did talk to the management about this vCloud. Samosa break. Hey, no more breaks, man. So Shiva, how behind are you, and you want me to repeat something? Because I was kind of okay. vMotion could be a long topic. We can go for another shorter topic.
Sorry, I just chose the network adapter for VM1. I lost the three of them. Sorry about that.
No problemo. So, but you know how to recover, or you want help?
Have the PowerPoint that you showed us.
Here's a PowerPoint, and you can take a picture. Woo-hoo. Hey guys, actually we have a WhatsApp, right? So we can actually take a picture of that in the PowerPoint.
So I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Let's, yeah, like you have discussed before that we have 23Nics and the IPs are pointed to the NIC 1, so it will always go to NIC 1, and if the other will go to NIC 2, it will always go to NIC 2. Like the previous screens. So my question is that if any goes down, then it will shift it to other NIC.
Well, no. In this case, we must have a dependency. What's going on? So guys, after question, please. After question.
Yeah.
Please mute.
Yeah. So
The mic.
if it will goes to the other NIC, what will happen to the data in between? It will lose. The data will be lost, or what? Or go to the other NIC.
Okay, so interesting. So here, first of all, this NIC is independently receiving traffic from here, and this NIC is independently receiving traffic from here. If you want failing over, this is not the failover configuration. This is independently one single NIC receiving traffic from here. this is a second independent NIC that is receiving traffic from here or sending and receiving traffic from here. So you must have then another NIC that is redundant for just doing this one traffic, and another NIC that is just handling this traffic. In that case, you have redundancy. So if this NIC goes down, whatever this was doing will be failed over to this one. If this NIC goes down, then whatever it was doing, it will fail over to that. But we didn't do that. So we have just two NICs that are doing different job. So they are not in failover configuration. They are not doing NIC teaming. They are different NICs doing different jobs. So they can have their own. Yeah, you can use chat for the questions as well. Sure, Mustafa. So they are not redundant. We have to add two more to make that particular NIC redundant. And Mariam says, I think in the vCloud they turn off the fence feature so the machine mixed in different VMs. Oh, okay. Okay, Mariam, thank you. And Mustafa, can we use chat? Yeah. So, to everyone, long questions will not be possible in the chat. Yeah, so you can come on mic and ask question. It will be quicker. But if it's a small question, you can put it in chat as well. So, but after asking the question, also please do mute the mic because there's a lot of echo then. Yeah, there was a lot of noise there, but I kind of understood the question. But as soon as we finish the question, we can just mute the mic. So yeah, if you have any question, put it in chat or put it in, or come on mic and do that. So. And if everything is clear here, you can also repeat everything in the lab, in the video that is getting recorded. So, shall we go ahead, guys? Yes. Shall we? Okay, there's a yes. And there are yeses here. So, okay, guys. And any question, anytime is welcome, right? So, okay. And let's go ahead, guys. And what is vMotion and how does it work? Okay, so vMotion is a... Okay, let me just go back to the diagram here. And if we talk about vMotion, first of all, remember that it is used when there is degradation of performance. Wow, that's two long words here. So what did I just say? It is used when there's a degradation of performance. But make sure that you understand it is not, we are unable to use, or it is not used when there is a crash of a server. So if the server crashes, that's it, down, powered off. So you cannot use vMotion or live migration of a machine from one hypervisor physical host to another physical host. So again, migration first. What is vMotion? I should have said that first. Migration of a VM from one physical host, which is also called hypervisor, to another, right? It can be done live migration. It could be done while the machine is off. So while VM is powered on, off, you can migrate the machine from one physical host to another. Suspended, then you can do that too, right? So powered on, off, suspended, all states you can migrate a machine from one physical host to another. But always remember, so sometimes I cross question in the next class after the vMotion class has happened and we have done everything, and I ask that, okay, when do we use vMotion? So some students say, oh, when we lose the machine, when the machine totally physically crashes. No, we do not use vMotion in that case because the machine is down, right? So so if I just explain it a little more, if this physical server, this virtual machine is loaded on what? I think we all mentioned that before. it is loaded on memory. So suppose this is RAM here, right? And there's a RAM here as well. So this virtual machine is working on top of a RAM, right? It is loaded on the RAM. Its virtual disk is on a data store that is on a LAN that is coming from SAN, but it itself is loaded on the RAM of this physical server. As soon as the physical server crashes, the RAM is not available. Hence, the virtual machine is also not available. You have to use other options for that. HA, high availability, is one option. Fault tolerance, FT, that's the second option. But you don't use vMotion when the server has physically crashed. When the server is performing low, then you only do the vMotion, which is just, hey, migrate a virtual machine from a low performing physical server to a high performing physical server. So when do you know that it is low performing? Obviously, when you have a lot of tickets and your boss is standing right behind you and staring at you and asking you, hey, aren't you looking at the tickets? So then you know. Or you have seen the monitoring application there and it says that, hey, in this machine the CPU and RAM are not that much available. Physical CPU and RAM this server is offering are not enough for the demands of this virtual machine. This virtual machine supposes a file server, and your CEO, your senior manager, your directors, they're all connected to this file server and accessing files, and it really needs more CPU and RAM. While our poor guy here, the physical CPU and RAM provided by this physical server are not enough. Maybe there are so many other virtual machines. Maybe there are 10 more virtual machines, 20, 30, 40 more virtual machines here. They're all asking for a share of share from the physical CPU and physical RAM of this physical host. So you decide that, and you finally knew that from monitoring tools as well. Okay, users are complaining. Those users who are connected to this virtual machine, connected, they are all saying, hey, it's unacceptable. I'm opening a file, it's taking forever. So then you see, oh, there's a lot of so here it is 90% of CPU and RAM are busy, while here you see that 65% of CPU and RAM are free. So here 90% is busy. Here it's 65% is okay, we can say busy. So that's a lot of CPU and RAM that is available still, right? CPU and RAM. Okay, so then this is the scenario where if you have configured correctly the vMotion, this is the scenario where you decide that, oh, the users are connected, and then you try to check that how many users. Oh, there are 175 users connected right now, and they're all screaming at me through tickets. So then you decide, okay, let me just vMotion right now. So what happens? You decide that, and there is a big drums first drumming there, and then you decide, okay, I'm going to vMotion. Okay, so and the boss says, yeah, get it over it. Come on, move it. Okay. So what happens is you move the virtual machine from one hypervisor to another, one hypervisor's RAM to the other hypervisor's RAM. When the machine moves from the memory contents only move or migrate when the virtual machine migrates from one physical server to another. So what is a memory content? So virtual machines, few files are on memory content. These users who are connected to the virtual machine, their data, their information about, okay, this user from this IP, this user is handling this file, it's a very small information that is also loaded on the RAM. So it's a very small information that moves in seconds, sometimes milliseconds, or in seconds from one physical hypervisor's RAM to another physical hypervisor's RAM. So virtual machine moves so fast that the end users that are working, they see if they click anywhere, so it might be frozen for 2, 3, up to 10 seconds. After that, all of a sudden, people will start working again. So you can live migrate a virtual machine while end users are connected, and it can migrate in seconds or milliseconds to another hypervisor where it is still powered on and the end users are still working. The example would be we are on planet Earth and the Earth is moving at a speed of 65,000 kilometers per hour, and we have no idea it's doing that, right? So maybe that's a bad example, but anyway, so the users will not know that the machine has migrated in seconds to another physical server on a LAN, right? On a LAN, right? So there's a question from Japinder. Can we schedule migration to be automatic? Yes, we can. Oh, whoa. Okay, so automatic means that we still have to, when you say schedule, we define a time, right? So this one is a planned migration, then it would mean. But where we are seeing this is a manual migration, right? So yes, you can schedule, but then schedule just means that you're doing some maintenance job or you're doing that, right? But this is something manual, and you have to do it right now. So you will never know that when the physical server will give very bad performance. So that's why you cannot schedule it. Whenever the bad performance occur at that particular time, you need to decide and migrate, right? So then Baba 20 says conditions. So conditions means prerequisites of how to configure, Baba 20. Can we schedule based on conditions? Yes. So
Conditions like maybe like utilization is up to something,
exactly as you said. So this is called then DRS, and that's upcoming when we create cluster. So DRS is distributed resource scheduler, and yes, it can analyze. Oh, it has very less RAM, and there's a threshold always that if it goes down, if the CPU goes below that threshold and RAM goes below a threshold, it analyzes right away. Oh, which other hypervisor has more RAM and CPU, and it automatically migrates the machine at that time to another hypervisor. So DRS has to be there. This is an advanced feature that requires an Enterprise Plus license. That's the most expensive one. Exactly, based on the CPU usage and RAM usage actually. So DRS can do that for you automatically. It is so good in automating that then the boss will not even need you, and the boss will fire you, right? Oh, just kidding. Okay, so no, it's just that whenever you want to enable that, so at least you will solve other tickets than more. Suppose you are stuck with a lot of tickets. Suppose you're not stuck with a lot of tickets, then just turn this dude off. Okay, so it's just too automated, and then they would realize, oh, DRS is doing everything, then what are you doing? And you're like, and that's it. So that would be your last right? Okay, anyway, so the thing is that yeah, there's another question. Mahmoud is asking, vMotion can, based on CPU schedule, based on condition. Yeah, so Mahmoud is saying vMotion can be hypervisor to hypervisor or to any other machine. No, it has to be just hypervisor to hypervisor. It has to be just hypervisor, because that is formatted with, that is a hypervisor for the VMware. It cannot go for any other vendor's hypervisor with vMotion and any other machine. No, it has to be a hypervisor. VMware hypervisor. So Microsoft has its own hypervisor called Hyper-V, and this same feature in Microsoft is called live migration, but this feature is called vMotion here. They both are the same concept and they work the same way. With the same version, yes. So Mayar is asking, hey, what about if this is 6.5 hypervisor and you want to migrate to 6.7, the newer one, or 6.0 or 5.5? So that's a good question, Mayar. The 6.5 can migrate back to 6.0 and 5.5, but not earlier than that. If it is 5.1 or 5.0, then 6.5 base virtual machine cannot migrate. They're not compatible with 5.1 and 5.0 or earlier. So welcome. So yeah, so there's a limitation with how much backward compatible 6.5 vMotion is. There's a limit to that. Just 2 versions back. 2 versions back. Okay, very, very good questions coming from you guys. So that's very good. Keep them coming. And so hopefully we understand that. Okay, so there's another question from Babatunde, and this is vMotion possible if a pass-through disk is attached to the VM? Hey, you're going ahead. So pass-through disk is called RDM in VMware. Pass-through disk is called pass-through disk in VMware Hyper-V. So pass-through disk doesn't exist with this terminology in VMware. In VMware, it is called RDM. But yeah, you're actually much ahead of everyone else. So yeah, if it is RDM disk, then no, you cannot migrate a virtual machine. In fact, that's a very good question. So now, since Babatunde mentioned RDM, so what is RDM? I'm going to quickly explain that too, because I was going to, as this is some of the no-goes for vMotion. In what conditions the vMotion cannot occur, right? So the condition would be, first of all, that it has to be a LAN-based or SAN shared disk-based storage here. So what is, that's the first thing. Second thing is, you know, you have a virtual machine. So what is RDM? I'm just going to explain that now. What is raw device mapping? What is RDM, or raw device mapping? So raw device mapping is that a virtual machine, which is called pass-through disk in Microsoft, it is called RDM in VMware. So the correct would be this. So a virtual machine normally has a virtual disk that is connected on data store, and then in turn data store uses LAN, the disk, to ask for IOPS. Or suppose you install a very heavy application called SQL Server, right, which handle databases. So in that case, the IOPS, which means reads and writes, it will send a read when you're searching some data. It will send a write when you're making some changes and saving it. So read and writes are going through virtual machine to the virtual disk, then to the data store, then to the LAN here. How about this is a bit slow for the amount. Suppose there are you know, 2,000 or 3,000 users connected, and 2 big applications are connected, and they're all sending data here. So in that case, you realize that, hey, this is not that fast. It is slow. So then the boss says it is slow, and people are saying that the disk performance is slow. So how about we give a raw disk that is fully just available for this virtual machine? Suppose this data store has many other virtual machines as well, right? So virtual machine 2, virtual machine 3, virtual machine 4, they all share the same data store. It is possible. Even 50 virtual machines could be on one data store, right? So now this will make it even slower. So how about if you really want to perform, you connect a RDM, which is a full disk all for this virtual machine, dedicated all for this virtual machine, and not shared with any other virtual machine. So suppose you go for another LAN there, or another SAN disk there, and there you connect it to both hypervisors, but this time you're not creating a data store. You cannot create a data store on top of that, and this LAN is raw, like you did not format it with VMFS, VMware file system. You did not create a data store on top of that. You just give the whole of this LAN directly to this virtual machine as a second disk. So now this LAN is fixed to this virtual machine. It has been attached to this hypervisor. Through this hypervisor, this LAN has been fixed to this virtual machine. Now the whole SQL Server can be actually installed on this, and directly it can format it. Even you can format it with Microsoft NTFS partition. So this is, and no other virtual machine can actually use this. Now this is totally available for this virtual machine. Why? because the reads and writes are directly done here now. So reading and writing, which is called IOPS, or input output per second. So full raw disk or LON is available just for this virtual machine because it needs more disk performance, especially more read performance. So this is called RDM in VMware and pass-through disk in Hyper-V, right? So, if you understand that, so vMotion cannot occur if the virtual machine has a RDM disk, raw device mapping disk. If the vMotion can have a connection when it reaches there, and it still have a connection from that hypervisor to this, then it can vMotion. If it does not have that kind of connection, no, it cannot. In majority of the cases, you have to do some more manual tasks. You have to do configurations to make it available from the other hypervisor as well. Otherwise, if it is connected to a RDM, normally you cannot migrate, you cannot vMotion. So I hope we all understand what is RDM first of all, and how it works, and then that if the machine is connected with an RDM for better disk performance, still then you cannot vMotion that machine. You have to disconnect it from the RDM, then do a vMotion. Okay, so that was a very good question. Okay guys, so we understand some of the scenarios here. The diagram is getting messier, but the thing is, hopefully we understand what's going on. That's the main thing that will get you the job, because if you understand, you can say it in the interview as well, and also that you have to repeat all that, make your own notes and summary in the lecture. So guys, we talked about the vMotion, that we can do that when there's a degradation of performance. If the machine goes down, no, vMotion is not to be then used. You cannot use that vMotion because the machine is down. There is no RAM available on which to put the machine on and then migrate. So it has to be on. It has to be physical machine has to be accessible in order for virtual machine to migrate, right? So then there's a question here: is there any downtime in between? So well, Mahmoud is asking there is any downtime in between. So there is a downtime if no, there is for live migration. For the vMotion where the machine is powered on, then there is no downtime unless your LAN has some issue. Suppose it is too busy, there is too much traffic there and the data is dropping, it might not go ahead. So otherwise, no, there is no downtime. If it is powered on and moved, if it is properly configured, no, there is no downtime. Yeah, you can turn it off and then migrate. Obviously, that's a downtime. If you suspend it and migrate, there's a downtime. But powered on, it moves in seconds, so no, there's no downtime. Oh, yeah, there's a few seconds of freezing, if you consider that as a downtime. Okay, so then Babatunde is saying you have not explained vMotion in terms of networking. Yeah, that's why it's called live. Yeah, so users will stay or disconnect. Users will stay. Mahmoud, user will stay. They will not be disconnected. So hence there's no downtime. Disconnect, downtime. So there is no downtime. Okay, so then you have not explained vMotion in terms of networking. We're gonna actually be configuring that. So that's why there's I was keeping that to the configuration. So but when we come to networking of vMotion, you have to add VM kernel ports. That's a extra VM kernel port that you have to add in both hypervisors. So on the network side, you have to add a VM kernel port called vMotion on both sides. Now when we configure that, then I was planning to explain all that. Obviously when you see that, you understand better. But yes, you have to configure a VM kernel port separately on both hypervisors if you want both of them to be in the configuration of accepting vMotion. But we're going to be actually configuring it, so I'm going to explain at that time as well. Because I'll be saying VM should be on both ESXIs. VM is migrating. So guys, the question from Kazafi's question is, another question arises, is VM a move or is it a copy? Is this migration a move operation or a copy operation? Anyone can tell me that? Is it a move or cut and paste operation, or is it a copy? That there's a copy here and there's a copy there as well. Shiva says copy. Tejinder, Mani, Babatunde, Shailander, Gabriel, Mustafa are all saying move, move, move. Oh, okay. Are you telling me to move ahead, or are you answering me? Oh, okay, just kidding. So Kim says move. They're all moving. Hey, that's very moving actually. So okay, exactly. So it is a cut and paste operation. Okay, no, please do. So yeah. So here, that's a good one. So here, it's exactly as you said. It's a move operation. So the virtual machine once moves or vMotions or migrates from here, it is no longer here. It's that same machine is just only here. So when it moves away from here, so it is no longer here, first of all. Oops, wrong diagram. And when it has fully moved, so its connection to its disk is reconnected from this physical server. So its connection from that is cut off. So there's a cutover here as well. As soon as it moves within seconds, it disconnects its connection from the virtual disk from this server, and when it enters here, it reconnects here. That's also happening in milliseconds or seconds, right? So why is it able to do that? Because this LUN is available, same LUN is available to this physical server or hypervisor, and this same LUN is available to this physical server or hypervisor as well. So that's why this virtual disk is available from this hypervisor, and this virtual disk is available from this hypervisor as well. So yes, it is a move operation. It is not a copy operation. And Japinder says that's why it's called migration. And Mustafa says we can move it back and forth. Yes, as many times as you want. You can just keep it doing throughout the day. And when the first time when we do that, it's so exciting that we actually want to do that back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until the virtual machine comes out of the screen and punches us on the forehead. Hey, can you stop it? What do you think I am? A virtual machine? Okay, so no, yeah, the thing is, yeah, we can do that all day. Yes, it is okay. It does not get tired. Yeah. So Baba 20 says turn it to your toy. Yeah. So it is exactly. You can just play with it all day, and it's like yay. Yeah. So, but you can move it as many times as you want. There is no limit to that. Definitely. Okay, guys. So that's very good, and the questions are very, very good, and they do clear up a lot of other concepts there. So keep those questions coming. Every question is welcome here. And so, well, shall we do it? Let's go for it! Woohoo! Yay! Or yay! Let's do it. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the configuration of vMotion. But do we understand everything? Yes, we do. Well, actually, I'm saying on your behalf. So let's go ahead, and there's a video here, and you what I would recommend is just recreate the whole environment at home. Oh, you are at home. So recreate the whole environment while you're there separately in a on a laptop as well, and yeah, and redo this. It's very important. Okay, guys. So what do we do here? Now we go to man, there are so many messages coming from all corners. Whew. It's like sheesh kebab. Okay, so yeah, all those slides I'm gonna be sharing, and what you will read there I just explained in one diagram. So CPU compatibility. What are the prerequisites of a migration? So first prerequisite is that where is it? Yeah. So the first prerequisite is that the CPU has to be from the same family of CPUs, and it cannot be another vendor. So CPU here and CPU here must be the same. So if it is Intel here, it has to be an Intel here. It cannot be an AMD here. Otherwise, migration will not happen. Second thing is that CPU family has to be the same as well. Suppose it is Intel there and Intel here as well, but if they are from different families, then also it's not gonna work. It will not migrate. So what is a CPU family? So those Intel processors that were released back and forth, kind of like 2-year gap, 1-year gap, or 3-year gap. And they have some type of features that are, like there is no significant architectural difference there. So they are considered as one family. But if there's a significant architectural difference there, suppose it's a 32-bit CPU, which was way back, and then there's a 64-bit CPU, but that's not family. There are families in 64-bit as well. There were families in 32-bit architecture as well. So if there are not significant architectural changes, it is one family, and they are released a bit recently from one another. So if the CPU family is same and they're not from different vendors, then you can migrate. If the CPU family is different, Intel, and they have different families, if it's a CPU and Intel and AMD, you cannot migrate. So in our case, obviously, the CPU is same, right? We all agree to that, right? Our CPU for the both hypervisors is same because both hypervisors are on one laptop. So obviously that compatibility is there, right? If we go back to vMotion interface, so minimum 1 GB adapter. So they're saying if it is less than 1 GB, that's not gonna work. If it is 10 Gbps adapter, it's not Gbps. So it's supposed to be recommended is 10 Gbps, but 1 Gbps adapter is also okay. It's all about speed. Shared central mass storage, in other words, SAN. You must have SAN, right? So, and LANs attached to all hypervisors. So if it's a central storage, shared storage over the network, then only it will work. Otherwise, it won't work. Well, it's not gonna work the way we are thinking. Suppose if you don't have that SAN, in that case, and you have the virtual disk on a local disk, so you can still migrate, but then the virtual machine and its virtual disk both travel, which is a very bad idea. Why? Virtual disk of a virtual machine could be 200 GB. So try copying a 200 GB over the network. It might take all night, right? So virtual machine and its virtual disk is on a LAN or from SAN. So virtual machine moves really fast while the virtual disk doesn't move at all. That's the benefit of SAN. It does not move at all. If it had to move, it's gonna take long time. So then you have to only do a migration that is having a downtime. If the SAN is not there, the migration will be possible with a downtime. Otherwise, live migration is only possible when there is SAN there, right? So I hope we understand that. Same naming for virtual port groups. Well, yeah, that is important because you know that the default port group name is VM network. This is the default port group name for the vSwitch 0 on both hypervisors. The port group name is same. The first vSwitch 0 that was created by default, its default port group name is same. So we kind of have this configuration already in place. What we need to do when we start the lab, we need to remove all the switches, right? The switches that we created, extra switches, we need to remove them, and we will only have vSwitch 0. So the port group names, if they're same, yeah, we have same port group names. Default ones are same. We never change them, right? On both hypervisors 1 and 2. Okay, so Mustafa says, how about the OS? The OS is on local storage. So when we talk about virtual machine network, so there's a hypervisor here, right? So Esxi is installed and it is not an OS. So, but yes, Esxi is on a local storage, because virtual machines have to be on top of something, right? So if there is no hypervisor here, then the virtual machine cannot use the RAM or any kind of hardware of this hypervisor, and virtual machine really needs a hardware to really run its virtual hardware. So it need to have a physical hardware here. So it's an Esxi hypervisor here, it's not an operating system, and that Esxi hypervisor has to be installed on the local disk, so the rest of the network, rest of the configurations could be created later. So yes, it has to be OS, or the hypervisor has to be on the local storage. We're talking about the virtual machine that are on top of the OS. It's this that's having a software, and that software is earning $1 million to the company, right? So it's the virtual machine that really is the concentration, what we are concentrating on, but it has to be provided a platform here with a in the name of Esxi hypervisor. Okay, so okay. And so we're talking about here sufficient resources on the target host. Obviously, you must have sufficient, CPU, RAM, bandwidth. So if you are deciding to migrate, if you manually have to do that, and you may have to do that from time to time, if the ticket arises because of the degradation of performance. So yes, you should take it to a better host and not a worst host in terms of performance. So, and then at least one vSphere Essential Plus license on the corresponding Esxi host. So yes, at least Essential Plus license should be there if you want to support vMotion. I was talking about DRS, that requires a Enterprise Plus license. That's the top most expensive license. Otherwise, this is Essential Plus. Yeah, you can just have that. And then Intel and AMD. There's a KBO knowledge base article there that describes about all the configurations related to Intel and AMD. So so far so good. We understand what are the requirements, but then comes the configurations here. So again, lab steps, vMotion of a virtual machine. So first is our CPU requirements are okay as we have same CPU off for our both hosts. So that's done. We already talked about that, right? Then let's confirm our network settings, and that's where we need to now go inside and really, we need to confirm or configure it. So what are we trying to create now? In order to configure vMotion, we need to create a VM kernel adapter, and that VM kernel adapter will be called vMotion PG. It will be created on a new switch. So guys, vSwitch 0. Let me just explain the whole thing, and we're gonna do that now. Let's start doing that actually. Now you guys don't have to actually go somewhere, right? So if it is 10 or 15 minutes more, it's okay, right, for everyone, right? It doesn't have to be hard 10 o'clock, right? Just 10 or 15 minutes more. Okay, so here, what I was trying to say here. All right, good. That's the spirit, guys. Okay, so here, VM kernel adapter. So the plan is, if you want to go for best practices, so better go for second switch that is dedicated only for vMotion, right? And that second switch, but need break for 10 minutes. Hey, let's take a break after this because we are very near now. Hey, didn't we have a break? As far as I considered, 15, 20 minute, 70, 80-minute break we had. Okay. So, or you can take the, laptop there where you want to go. Oh, just kidding. Okay. So, let's carry on. And what we were talking about, how much is left? Yeah, so it's not much. It's like half an hour more, I guess. We can stop at 11. Oh, 11? No, we can stop at 10:15 or 10:20 max. Yeah. We are okay until 12. Seriously? Okay. Okay, guys, let's go ahead because the discussion is also taking time. So Okay, so let's go ahead. And so what is the plan here? We can actually configure a vMotion on vSwitch 0 as well. So vSwitch 0 already has connection of management network VM kernel port. It also has 3 port groups here. Suppose they were actually working virtual machines on all 3 port groups. So vSwitch 0 already has enough traffic there. So the best practice is, so technically you can connect or configure vMotion on a vSwitch 0 as well, but we're going to create a vSwitch 1 here, which is actually already there, but we're going to delete that and create a new one. We're going to create a vSwitch 1 here, and we're going to create a vSwitch 1 here as well. And for the best practices, we're going to connect this vSwitch to 2 new network cards here. 2 new network cards here for best practices, right? So separate switch for vMotion with 2 separate network cards. That's what we're going to do, right? So that's what I wanted to explain here. Let's go ahead and actually, because it's an advanced feature that we're about to introduce, we're going to have, we're going to add now VM kernel adapter on both Hypervisor 1 and Hypervisor 2. So the vMotion can happen on these both hypervisors. So let's do that. So once we go back to our server 2 here, hopefully everyone's back on server 2. Let's go back to Esxi01 and let's just clear our network first of all. If you're all on Esxi01, we are in configure and we are in virtual switches already. I guess everyone's seeing that. If not, go to configure, Esxi1, configure, virtual switches. So select vSwitch 1 here. We need to get rid of or delete vSwitch 1, vSwitch 2, vSwitch 3. Yes, we're going to create vSwitch 1 again, but right now we need to delete it. So select vSwitch 1 only, do not select vSwitch 0. vSwitch 1, and there's a delete button here, right? Let's delete. And yes. And then we go to vSwitch 2 and delete vSwitch 2 and yes, and delete vSwitch 3 and yes, delete vSwitch 3. Okay, so guys, you have only vSwitch 0 available here, and that's all we need. You have only vSwitch 0 available here, and vSwitch 0 with VM network as the default port group also is available there, which is default. You don't need to do anything here. You just deleted vSwitch 1, 2, 3, which is good. Now we need to add VM kernel port that introduces the advanced feature called vMotion. We need to add that VM kernel port first in the Hypervisor 1, and then we're going to add it to Hypervisor 2, right? So we are here. Hopefully everyone has deleted that switch. And remember that we're going to create a vSwitch 1 again, but now with vMotion configuration. So let's go to this, add host networking again in Esxi01. So let's click that add host networking. Once you click the add host networking here in Esxi01, this time we're not going for third option. We're going for first option, which is VM kernel network adapter that introduces all these advanced features. So keep it clicked and click next. Once you click next here, so no, we're not, we technically can create it on vSwitch 0, but we don't want it to be overwhelmed with a lot of bandwidth with vMotion also and other virtual machines also. So we're going to go for new standard switch here. So that's the reason for creating a new standard switch, just to be having a separate flow of traffic and separate network cards dedicated just for vMotion. So select the new standard switch here and click next. And once you have clicked next here, so now we're going to give a separate set of network adapters to this new switch. So let's click plus sign here and select vMNIC 1 and 2 both. So select the shift button, press the shift button and select both vMNIC 1 and vMNIC 2 and press OK. Or just vMNIC 1, press OK, and then vMNIC 2, press OK. So we'll keep those 2 adapters as active adapters. which is good, which is okay. Depends on the administrator. So these two are added here, vNic 1 and 2, and click next. And then there's a port group, right? So it needs to be named something. VM kernel port setting here. So we will call it vMotion. That's it. Simple. But there's one more thing here. Not only that, we call it vMotion, and then we go for, so there's no VLAN ID we're configuring. IP setting is v4, not v6. So these are defaults are okay. But TCP/IP stack, if we go there, you can see that the set of protocols are, there is an option for dedicated TCP/IP stack. This set of protocols will simply be dedicated only for vMotion, which in English it means that you cannot configure any other advanced feature when this feature is configured with this switch here, right? So it's totally dedicated. This TCP/IP stack is totally dedicated with vMotion. Otherwise, technically, if you don't choose that, if I put it default, so yes, we can go for fault tolerance, provisioning, and vSphere replication. We can just select all, but it's going to overwhelm the bandwidth if you do that. So keep it to vMotion as a dedicated TCP/IP stack, which is just this traffic is dedicated here, right? So if you have selected that, you've typed vMotion, you've selected vMotion, let's click next. And then we can go for use IP. Although it can successfully get an IP from DHCP, but let's just give it a separate IP address here as well. So always VM kernel port requires its own separate static IP or IP from DHCP, but it requires an IP of its own. So we can go for 10 and 11 for now for this feature. So 10 would be E6501 vMotion VM kernel port IP, and 11 would be for E6502. So 192.168.200.10 here, and you have to put a subnet mask, so tab 255.255.255.0. So default gateway, override default gateway for this adapter. No, we don't need to override that. And DNS server addresses, if you want to give that, it's okay, but right now we don't need to give that. So use static IPv4 settings and make sure it is 200.10. That's the 200 scheme. So Mahmoud says I don't have IP settings. Really? Did you select VM kernel adapter, Mahmoud? Go back and check. Do you see all these options here that I see? That's if it's a VM kernel adapter, it's not possible. Check this. You have a vMotion. VM kernel adapter always have IP settings unless you have gone for non-VM kernel. Did you select this new standard switch? VM kernel network adapter. Did you select this one on the first one? So you don't, Tajinder and Mahmood, you don't see IP settings there? That's, so guys, do you see this? Did you select this? On the first screen, go for first screen of this.
Yes.
Oh, VM kernel network adapter, you selected that. Then, well, cancel out and then start again from here, right? So you must select vSwitch 0 and then E6501 and then go for add host networking and then start over again like this. So Tajinder and Mahmood are not seeing the IP settings. All others are seeing. Wow, IP settings not showing there. That's strange. Okay, doing the same thing again. So cancel out now and do the same thing again. Yeah, okay, you're doing the same thing again. Tajinder also. If it's not showing, then yeah, I have to connect after the class to your machine's team viewer. So next, VM kernel adapter, and then it's a new standard switch, and then 2 network cards have to be added there, right? And then name it vMotion. Do not change anything, IPv4 VLAN, but change it this to vMotion here in the TCP/IP stack, and then next, and you should see an IP address here. That's first time I'm hearing. You don't see IP address. Why? How? When? Where? Which? Who? What? Okay. So doing the same thing, and you got it or not? If not, then yeah, we have to TeamViewer. Just install TeamViewer, and at the end of this, oh, you got it. Oh, okay. The IP setting is there, but not on the previous screen. Oh, okay. You just had to go one screen more, right? Okay, thank you for this information. So yeah, just goes one screen more, and try to T-shoot as well. Thank you very much, sir. So we can go ahead, right? So use IPv4 settings. If it is one screen more, it's okay. Go ahead. So Mahmood's saying, please go to port settings. Where's the port settings? This one? Oh yeah, port properties. So this is it. Select all this, and then go next, IPv4 settings, or go next, and check, Mahmood. You don't have IP settings, Mahmood? You can come on mic, or you can type.
No, sir, I don't have this setting. I have this network label, VLAN ID, TCP/IP stack, enabled services. That's what I have. No IP setting is on the next screen. Should I go to the next screen?
IP setting is on next screen?
Yeah. What? No, you have VLAN, IP settings, TCP/IP stack, right? Instead of IP settings, I have this TCP/IP. No IP setting. VLAN ID, TCP/IP stack. That's it. So I should go to the next setting. Do I have to select anything here, or I just go ahead?
Selected vMotion. That's okay.
Yeah, just I wrote vMotion, not the, and there is a default. There is vMotion there. TCP/IP stack, right?
Okay, now click next.
Okay, next. Now I have IP, so should put IP here, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Alright guys, so if we have put in the IP address, okay, so let's go ahead guys, and yeah, just enter IP on next screen, 192.168.200.10 and 255.255.50. Hopefully you have done that now, and click next. Okay, so next is this, ready to complete. It's a summary, and click finish. Right? So if you're all done, click finish. And so the VM kernel port here has been created, and you can actually go on Esxi01 in under the virtual switches. Do you see this VM kernel adapter? This one? Click that. VM kernel adapters here, this one, click that. And you should see now that already there's a VM kernel adapter for management network, as we've been talking about, and it has its own IP, which is the IP of the machine, and then there's that 200.10, which is the IP for vMotion. Let's do exactly the same thing on Esxi02 now, right? Let's go exactly the same thing on Esxi02 now. So once we click the Esxi02, we are on the exact same screen as we were on Esxi01. So virtual switches, either you're on VM kernel adapter window or you're on virtual switches, this add host network adapter option, add host networking, is the same in both. So let's click that, add host networking in Esxi2 now, right? Esxi2. So again, it will be the same VM kernel network adapter Then we click next here, and we click here new standard switch, the same as we did before, right? New standard switch, and click next. And then we add the 2 network cards here as well, just like in the previous one. So select vMNIC1, vMNIC2 here, and press OK. So then we click next, and we exactly put the same vMotion here as the name. Then you go further down here. You know what? If I just put the name here and click next, yeah, I just still see the IP setting. Okay. So then we go down here from default, just go for vMotion, right? vMotion, and just go to, instead of default, just change it to vMotion. And then we click next. And use IPv4 setting here. And this time we know all what IP we need to give. 192.168.200.11. And press tab to put 255.255.255.0.0.0. Okay, guys, so that is 192.168.200.11 and 255.255.0. If you have put in that information, click next and finish, right? Click next and finish. So once we click next and finish, so it's done here. So the networking side of the that advanced feature called vMotion has been configured. And if we go for some more prerequisites here, so we can check, okay, VM kernel ports have been created. Without that, we cannot actually do a vMotion. And then there's make sure vSwitch 0 have 2 port groups, one of them, no, it's okay. Remove all other vSwitches. We did that. Make sure our VM has an operating system. I wish we had. And data store, do we have data stores? Yes, we have enough data stores here. Let's move our machine. Okay, there you go. We actually are ready. Woohoo! Yeehaw! Okay, so guys, what we need to do is that we can try to go for vMotion now. So what we can do is, now because we went for prerequisites and then we went for all the configuration changes, we need to migrate Esxi1 to Esxi2, but what we can do is right click here on your first name VM01. In fact, we should choose that machine which has 1 network card, not 2 network cards, right? So we can just go to actually VM02. Why VM02? It has 1 network card, so that's okay. But we need to make sure that this VM02 is connected to the first switch. Remember that it was connected to a second switch in the previous lab? We just need to double check if this virtual machine's network card is connected to the correct port group or not. Although we deleted it, sometimes the port groups still remain there. So I'm just going to right click your first name VM02. I'm going to right click that and go to edit settings. Right click VM02 and go to edit settings. And check the network adapter switch, which switch it is connected to. So I can see that I clearly deleted VS2 PG1, but it has not gone from here. So it is connected to a switch that does not even exist. So I'm gonna change that. So that's another thing I wanted to show you, that even if you delete that, it doesn't go right away. Maybe you restart vCenter or restart Hypervisor, then it goes away. So I'm gonna change it to VM network, which is the default port group, right? I hope everyone has done that. VM network, the default port group here for your first name VM02. Or if you want to go over VM01, just delete the second network card and the first network card should be on VM network. And press OK. So if you have changed that network here, right click again VM02, right click again VM02. This time we are powering it on. So vMotion rules apply whether your machine has an operating system or not. The vMotion configuration is exactly the same whether it has an operating system or not. So my recommendation is, if you have an operating system based virtual machine, go for that one and migrate. While I have all empty machines here, a few of us have machines with operating system. Just correct their networking or port group and then do what I'm doing. So power on the VM02, which is an empty machine. Even if it had an operating system, this is exactly the same way you do everything to make vMotion work. So is it powered on for everyone? So what is the power on? So if you have selected the machine, you see the summary here. After powering on the virtual machine, click the summary, this one, summary. Once you click the summary here, it shows clearly that which hypervisor it is on, Esxi01. The host is Esxi01. We know that already anyway. So we need to migrate this machine from Esxi1 hypervisor to Esxi2 hypervisor across the data centers. So it is powered on. Now, if it is powered on, right click again on it after powering it on, and you see this migrate option. I hope everyone sees the migrate option. So let's click that migrate option after powering on the virtual machine. That's the toughest configuration, where it is powered on. If it is off, it's very easy to migrate machine. But when it is on and you can migrate, that's where it requires that your configuration has to be perfect. So we're talking about three options here. Change compute resource only. Compute resource is the CPU, the host, right? Whatever machine is providing you the CPU and memory, that is called compute resource. So change compute resource only. Yes, we don't want to move our storage. The second option is change storage. No, we don't want to move our storage. Storage here just means the virtual machine's virtual disk. We don't want to move that. So change both compute resource and storage. No, we just want to move only compute, which is one host hypervisor, but not the virtual machine's virtual disk. So we're going to stick to the first option and click next. Oh, and Hassanul is saying, wait for a minute, please. Yes, Hassan, which stage are you? You can come on mic, or you can, if you know everything and you're just going ahead. Okay, Japinder is saying that I can see only Esxi1. Yes, Japinder, the machine that you chose, if that machine's virtual CD-ROM is mounted to an ISO of Windows 10 or Windows 2012 or any ISO, then it will not show you the second hypervisor. It will not let you migrate across the network. So thank you for putting up that problem here. We all get to know that too. But you have to either you have to go back and edit settings of that virtual machine and go to the CD-ROM and remove the CD-ROM fully, or just disable that ISO connectivity and then try again, and then it will show you the second hypervisor. In most cases, Japinder, go for a second machine. This machine, even after removing the ISO from the virtual DVD of the machine, it might not show you hypervisor. So go for a second machine, because it doesn't accept the new configurations right away for vMotion. So and that is Japinder saying so, and then SNL from migrate. Yes, from migrate, please. Okay, and then Babatunde is saying, can we reconfigure the hardware resources at the point of migration, assuming the VM was turned off? For instance, can I shrink the disk size as I migrate? No. ISO is not there. Javinder, did you say ISO? Did you had an operating system inside there? Oh, you never had. Okay, then in that case, is your Esxi2 powered on? First thing, are you able to ping the Esxi2? third thing, vCenter has the correct configuration of, like, it is connected to Esxi2. So then sign out from vCenter and sign in again. Make sure that firewall is off on server 2 and firewall is off on server 1. And sign out from only vCenter and sign in again. Sign out, close browser, open browser, sign in again, and then try to connect. Imani says she has the same problem. So guys, if you cannot see Esxi2 from within server 2, so check your virtual CD and CD-ROM of this machine. So I'm just gonna cancel out from here. Right click here on virtual machine and go to edit settings. Make sure that and yeah, Jupinder and Imani, just make sure that your network card is connected to the correct VM network. Port group. Second thing is the CD DVD is not connected to ISO, or it is connected is unchecked. But if you never connected it to ISO, that's good. Then check the firewall of server 2 and firewall of server 1 as well. Make sure they are off, and also sign out from vCenter and sign in from vCenter again after closing and opening. Okay, Imani has removed the CD-ROM. Imani, better go for a second machine if it was already, or you removed the CD-ROM if ever it was connected with ISO. Anyway, can we start again from network point? Oh, okay. Network point. Network point. Yeah, it is.
I want to just go back to the point where you pick what network adapter you connected to.
So if I go to Esxi2 here, and then I went for this add host networking, and I selected VM current adapter.
No, that is not what I mean. I've gone past this, but the point where you want to select the virtual machine to use.
So it is Vms
Yeah.
2.
So how do you know? How do you confirm the network adapter
Right
attached
click
to it?
and edit settings,
Okay, edit settings.
and then confirm if the network adapter is on VM network. Make sure and visit again that virtual machine, guys. Those who are having issues, is it on VM network or not? It must be on VM network.
Okay, I have two of my VM that is on VM network. I can use any of them. All right. Okay. Thank you.
And so that was it, and all firewalls are off, Jupinder. All firewalls are off, pinging is okay. Oh, then it comes down to restart. First restart just the server Hypervisor 2 and wait for it to come back up, and then try again this wizard. If still it is not showing, then restart actually server 2, the vCenter, and wait for whatever time it takes to start all the services, and then try again. So if everything else is okay, then restart Esxi2 first only and wait for it to come back. If that also doesn't work, then restart the actual vCenter itself and then try again. Okay, cool. And what else? Imani, you're good. Remove the CD-ROM, and then if you're not able to do that, better go for another machine, Imani. Alright guys, so I'm going to try to go for your first name VM02, right click here and go to migrate. And then it's the change compute resource only. And that was it, right? Next. And yes, normally this do happen that the two machines are not showing, two hypervisors are not showing. So we know that our machine was on ESXi1, so it is asking select a cluster host or VApp or resource pool to run the virtual machines. Select a compute resource. Now that is ESXi2, right? So we want it to migrate to ESXi2. Yeah, so I'm in the host tab. Oh yeah, you're telling others. Okay. So guys, others were you in the host tab when you were looking at that? But yeah, by default it opens in host tabs. Okay, so if you selected ESXi2, click next. Oh, the compatibility check has issues. Put that screenshot of the error on WhatsApp. Okay, guys, so do you see this warning here, compatibility? Are you talking about the select network screen here, Tajinder? If that's the screen you're talking about, or you can just put a screenshot there. So guys, after this is done, we can have a troubleshooting session as well. I can remotely connect to your networks as well. Have your team viewer ready. So right now, if we can finish this, but those who are having issue, we can just still stay there and I can try to resolve for you. So VM network to VM network, there is that here. So there are compatibility warnings here. If you go to show details, it's just saying that the virtual machine uses VM network. Since the operation is being conducted across data centers, this network may not be the same. It's just saying that, are you sure that this is the same network across the data centers from Tor DC to NYDC? So we can ignore safely that warning. We know that the other network is safe and is okay. So if this is the source network and this is the destination network, you see, you're good. Next. And yes, that's the final one. Well, second last. Schedule vMotion with the high priority recommended. High priority. So Munir, are you asking me if I'm on 1 or 2? So if
Yes.
go back here, so I've selected 2 here.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much.
And next, this page is not complete. Select a valid destination compute resource. Did I not select? Serious? Okay, I'll select that first, and then select that again, and click next. Okay, and next. So now schedule vMotion with high priority recommended, and next. So here we can see that it's the summary, and what we're expecting is that this machine should no longer be in ESXi1, it should be in ESXi2, and it should be powered on in ESXi2, right? So let's give it a shot. Let's click finish. You need to keep your eye on recent tasks here, your best friend. 86% completed, woohoo, yay! Okay. So I don't see machine 2 here. Oh, where did it go? Oh, okay. So let's expand that ESXi02, and there it is. There it is. Your first name VM02. So it migrated. Now, guys, quickly migrated back to ESXi1, so we could then suspend all the machines and bye-bye for today. So we need to migrate it back to ESXi1 as well, just to check. That's great, right? It shows us the feeling of achievement here. So right click again, it reached on ESXi2, and right click again and go for migrate again. And yeah, that's what we were talking about. Then you could do that all night run, right? So make it your try. So change compute resource only. Next, same thing, right? Now select the destination again. My machine is now on 2. So yeah, destination is already selected. I want it to go to 1. So 1 is already selected, which is good for me. And next. And yeah, it shows the same warning and everything, which we can ignore, that it is going across the data centers. Are you sure? Yes, we are sure. Next. Schedule vMotion with high priority. Yes, high priority. Next. And there's that summary and finish. And keep an eye on the recent tasks here. Completed, yay! It's back, woohoo! Oh, there's a yay from everywhere. Yay! Okay, so that vMotion must be working, or must be in a working condition before next Monday. And we have a lot of other exciting labs coming, since now we are smooth and vCloud is not there. Even the next VMware course that is starting after this, they said that students have already registered, so I have to explain them as well, not to go for vCloud, but anyway. Okay, so guys, this is it. Redo all the labs at home. You will learn more. Reconfigure the whole vMotion. You will really gain a lot of confidence on that. Doing once is no go. Do it twice. Give it your 200% now, and if you get a good job, enjoy the rest of your life, right? So you really have to work hard. Also, if you can, try to do all the labs of AWS and Azure as well. So that will be very, very critical, and do those certifications as soon as possible, plus this one, VCP, right? Alright guys, so any questions, let me know. Those who want to troubleshoot, now I'm available. And the rest, just right click on server 1 and power and suspend. Right click on server 2, power and suspend. So Esxi1, Esxi2, power and suspend. Okay, so yeah, VMware on laptop did it. Definitely. I always teach that way. This vCloud was a mess. Tonight I learned a lot. Thank you so much. Although I had some attack from my kids. Oh, okay. We waste so much time on HumberCloud. Yes, exactly. Finito, finito, finito. Suspend is better or shut down? Oh, well, okay. Mahmoud, suspend is okay, because then you don't have to start the vCenter and you don't have to wait for 10 minutes for the services to start. Suspend just keeps the services frozen till next time, right? And make a copy of this virtual machines, all these virtual machines, on next external, in an external disk as well, if you can. Okay guys, so thank you. And yeah, screenshot guys, we just had 2 screenshots today. Next time I'll be asking you to create more screenshots, so you need to upload those screenshots on today's Blackboard. Hard disk on is side 2. Okay, so I'll be going for upload your screenshots guys. I'm just configuring that now. So after that, just to go ahead and upload, I'll be opening that. So BB Humber. Wow, so that Humber remote connection sucked, really. Didn't work. VMware certified professional, and then so I will shut down or stop the video now.